Alright, welcome. Gonna be getting some King of the Hill action today. We got Lux, Happy Puppy, Wicked, Zach Schmall. Up guys? Get it going. Yes, indeed. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Just been stuff done this morning. Playing a little bit of the Sips. Well, be jumping into that a bit on stream sometime this week. I don't know exactly when. But today, here we are with some King of the Hill action. Got Golden Eagle versus Jay Phoenix. Brown Dead. Band Dwarfs and High Elves. Okay, he wanted to go Eltharion. It's all good. You know, there's plenty of other meme lords to... Welcome. Yes, don't mind me as I adjust my microphone real quick. Fell asleep during work and no one noticed. Oh my god, that's amazing. That's actually amazing. I don't know if I've ever fallen asleep at work, to be honest. No? Okay, no, that's not true. There was one point where I was, managing this restaurant. I had to be there like 12 hours, 13 hours a day. There were some times where I'd go take like a 5-minute power nap in my office during the slow time. Like, oh, everyone's good? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go work on some paperwork in quotations. It has to be spontaneous, Happy Puppy, right? It has to be spontaneous, isn't that how it works? Anyway, it's all good. Let's see, I have all these Discord notifications for things I don't care about. Let's go ahead and mark those as red. Fun. Drown is an interesting one. Being able to take the paladins is something that you can potentially get good value from in specific matchups. Hey, what's up, Alec? Painting some Saurus. Nice. I gotta finish my Steam tank, and then I gotta get some Pistoliers or something. Probably Pistoliers. And a Lord on a Griffin. Really just Carl. Put legs on desk and lean back. Boom. Sleep in 10 seconds. There we go. Living Silostra to the Bretonian roster. That would be funny. That would be really funny. I wonder what lore of magic would she have? Lore of Shadows? She couldn't use Lore of the Deeps because she hasn't been down to the Deeps yet, and assuming she's still a caster. Or maybe she's just not a caster, she's just useless as a lord. 4 hours. Ha! You slept for 4 hours at work and no one noticed. That's amazing. You should get Heavens. Maybe. I could see that, Wicked. Would it even be good for a Legendary Lord to have Heavens, though? They should just give him a different lore attribute, because Roiling Skies is situational at best. I don't know, what do you guys think? Is Roiling Skies the worst lore attribute in the game? I think so. Because it's just so situational. Heavens is not a super commonly picked lore anyway, and I mean, granted, if that was just like a map-wide, like -5 melee defense and minus a little bit of speed too. Yeah, that would make sense. You know what they should do? I'm just straight up talking off the top of my head right now, but they should change both the two worst lore attributes in the game, in my opinion. are the Lore of Shadows attribute and the Lore of Heavens attribute, right? Shadows, what is it? Smoke and Mirrors gives you a little bit of speed, but it's hardly anything, and it's pretty short amount of time. Like, the percentage isn't really low enough to be impactful. But what if it had a little bit of a melee defense component as well? Because, you know, how can you hit what you can't see? People are all, you know, sneaking and dodging around. They should be harder to hit them, right? So maybe you give like a +5 melee defense map wide too during the effect of it. That would actually make it pretty good. That would definitely make it worth taking. And then, yeah, where was I going with this? The other lore attribute, yeah, Roiling Skies. Basically, you make it so it affects all units, not just flying units, and make it basically the same thing. So it's like an equivalent, but a debuff, right? Like minus, whatever, 12% speed, minus 5 melee defense. Maybe. Could be something. Just saying. Would make it a super strong buff and debuff lore, which it already is, to a degree. But, like, let's say this example, this matchup, for example, if you weren't seeing Silostra's faction, you're seeing the base, Vampire Coast, there's a pretty good chance that you see Luther Harkon here. So maybe if you do bring Heavens to Windblast zombies and such, then you would take Roiling Skies just so that you can also continuously debuff him as you're spamming those spells. I don't know, Heavens is okay. It's just the lore attribute is terrible. Worst. Could be force flying units to land, and that would be hard for them to program, yes, and it would be really, really super strong. Give nobles the Griffin mount? No, I'm not with that. I'm gonna say nope on that one. Although they probably should have. I don't know if they had anti-large AP on their Eagle, a la the Master on Dark Pegasus. That would actually make them a lot better. I don't know why on the Eagle versus the Pegasus, it's like, oh no, the Eagles don't get the armor-piercing damage, but Pegasus, it's like, I don't know, maybe I guess the Eagle is a little bit bigger, maybe they're trying to represent that it's the Eagle itself fighting, but I would still think that the Noble would be getting his attacks. Yeah, nobles on eagles a joke. Or a joke, right? Exactly. It's funny whenever I say that too. I always get people in the comments, campaign players, like, you could take nobles in the air because, you know, they get less armor and way less damage, and it's just objectively worse in every way than the chariot. Or I could take one of the best armor-piercing single-entity chariots in the game. Big decision. Yeah, awful eagle. Too bad. Anyway, let's have a look at some builds now. What do we have here for Britonia? Field Trebuchets, non-blessed variant. Questing Knights, Knights of the Lion-Hearted, Men-at-Arms. Got some Battle Pilgrims, whole bunch of mobs, couple of Pox Arrows, a Paladin in the air with, who's that? Lewin? Alberic on a Pegasus. Damsel Lord of Life. There's the Fleur de Lis. This is an interesting pick because Alberic does not deal magic damage, so he brought Silostra on foot. That actually is going to be a decent pick here. But the question is, did he? I see a couple of Paladins there. Basically, they just have to avoid the Knights Lion-Hearted. Pistol Admiral, okay. Like that quite a bit. Very strong pick. Yeah, polearms, bombers, and pistol mobs, and handgun mobs. Interesting. So 1 pistol mob, 3 handgun mobs. See how this does. Very, very interested. The Paladins in the sideways formation here, very clearly asserting dominance. Yes, yes. And of course, carronades. Oh, mortars. 1 carronade, 2 mortars. Interesting. Mortars will be able to take out these archers pretty well and take on the battle pilgrims, although not going to be completely free from counterfire. The trebuchets do have a few different targets they could shoot at, but probably they want to go after... it's tough, man. Carronade's a pretty necessary target to protect your cavalry, as are the handguns. I'd probably focus carronade first, maybe the mortars too. Mortars are just not that expensive, and it's going to be hard to focus with them with trebuchets. Play a dwarf box and fall asleep. Yeah, you'll probably lose if you do that, but... You at least have to think about your target priority and click your missile units on the right units at the right time. Chariots are difficult to use. Oh, not even. Not really. You just have to spam click orders on everything. It's not that hard. Laying down we would fix the sleep issues. There we go. That's the spirit. Alright, they're off. Let's take a look. Albric sizing up his opponent. I'm gonna have to be careful flying in here as these gun mobs deal an insane amount of damage. I was talking about this with some people. The fact that these guys have 120 models is kind of insane, right? If you think about it, the next level of missile unit, 90 unit models for something like Ungor Raiders or Free Company or Goblins. These guys have a full 25%, I guess 30% increase on models, which is just insane. You basically, for every 4 Raider units, you would only need 3 zombie guns, right? Which is kind of insane. The volume is just so ridiculous. Especially with the bombers and everything. Bombers have full-on 120 unit models as well, so that's what makes the zombie guns so strong, and approaching a gun line like this can be quite scary. Pistol Admiral also quite a strong ranged option. Doesn't have as long a range as the Gunnery Whites, but it's still long enough that she can get some work in. Still, they've got to be careful, only 90. So far, mortars, a little bit of contact there on the peasant arrows, not too much. But Trebuchet's making nice contact here on this unit of gun mobs. Still 90 unit models there. They all are being healed by Invocation of the Heck as well. So far, so good. Both sides kind of trading here. The carronades, it looks like, are not actually firing yet. They're trying to get into position to shoot at the knights, which is definitely the right call. Knights Lion-Hearted, if they can take out their models, are going to be irreplaceable, let's say. There's nothing else that can take on these paladins, really. Damned paladins. Magic missile here being used. Ooh, Gaze of Nagash comes in, does some okay damage, but the hit squad here are able to mostly dodge it. And nice, Golden Eagle rather, hides Knights Lion-Hearted here. Excuse me. Swallowed a bit my own spit, no big deal. Hiding in the woods there from the carronades. I honestly probably would just leave them and not really try and reveal their presence too much, but looks like he's going to come forward here. Maybe try to take out some of these guns and just sweep back and get at the carronades. There are summons here, though, and Albric's going to hit this handgun with a wave. Looks like they are able to mostly dodge that, which is unfortunate. Very unfortunate for Bretonnia. It's great for the zombies, though. The Knights Lion-Hearted do get an attack order to path in, get after the handgun mobs. Mortars are still raining fire, though, on the arrows, and they're not doing great in terms of their leadership. Over here, the other calves, the defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis able to get in, crush those bombers pretty decisively, and then pull back without the bombers having done too much damage. So far, looking pretty good for Bretonnia, but they've got to be careful as these guns turn and fire. The Mournguls also come in to support that cavalry engagement. Knights Lion-Hearted really need to pull back out of there. Like the cannons are firing. I'm not sure exactly what they're targeted on at the moment, but Questing Knights also probably need to push up here. Try and start to sweep into this back line as well to take out all these missile units. The halberds are a little bit out of position here where they can't protect all of this stuff. Friends of the Fleur-de-Lis doing a great job getting up and around, like sweep through these gaps, start to clean up. But yeah, Knights of Lionheart are definitely taking some pretty significant damage there. Likewise over here, Battle Pilgrims filtering in now without having taken too much damage from the bombers. Definitely solid stuff. And these two halberds here are going to be too slow to actually catch the Friends of the Fleur-de-Lis as long as they don't lose their movement order from the couple zombies they contacted there. It looks like they are able to move through. Nice hit with the trebuchets as well. So yeah, decent stuff. Looks like probably a regrowth. Yeah, on those Knights of Lionhearted. Relatively cheap unit to be using that on, but for the time being, that's totally fine. Looks like we had another zombie summon here, so J Phoenix going all in with the pistol summons. Very, very strong. And the gun zombies as well, providing some nice overwatch. So Albrecht and the Paladin definitely need to get down onto the ground. Meanwhile, the damned Paladin's kind of breaking up this flank over here pretty effectively. Knights Lionhearted, though, are in a position, if Golden Eagle notices and is able to get a good charge in here, he could do a lot of damage to that damned Paladin right now. Very good potential. Meanwhile, in the back, yeah, Defense of the Fleur-de-Lis now getting a crossfire at this point. Fortunately, zombies, you know, because they just only crumble, and crumbling doesn't do anything. It'll take them a long time to go down, and that's kind of just the issue here for Bretonnia, is they're really not going to win this attrition fight. Battle Pilgrims also getting terrified away in the center as the damned Paladins are able to kind of get home there. Once that frenzy wears off, the immune psychology's gone, and it's just not really, I don't know. The immune psychology from frenzy is not wildly useful. Golden Eagle's got to be careful, too, of these trebuchets doing too much friendly fire now that the Questing Knights are in that fight there. Definitely needs to retarget them over somewhere else, like maybe hit these halberds right here. But Knights of the Fleur-de-Lis in the back line, still doing a great job swinging around between these different targets. They were able to shut down that carronade, which is very important. No, actually, it looks like it's still online. But yeah, the trebuchets do switch targeting. They've got quite a bit of work done so far. Oh no, but this is bad. The Damsel is having to run now, pop that scroll of shielding and get out of there. The Knights Lionhearted over here, though, did catch one of the Paladins, so this is exactly what Golden Eagle needs to get back in the game. And you can see as that Paladin takes damage, the balance of power starts to swing back pretty wildly. Mournguls are going to come over and support that engagement. And the Paladin actually hold out, we'll see. The rest of Bretonnia, it's looking pretty grim for them, though. I mean, Albrecht and the Paladin are still just fine, but Damsel's running from the Ghostly Paladin. Very appropriate here, kind of Bretonian. Ghosts fighting Bretonnia. But Knights Lionhearted actually doing okay against the Mournguls, although still this this damn Paladin really just not going down. And of course, that's Curse of Undeath for you. Just kind of goes that way sometimes. And I don't know how this mortar got a gold chevron, if it started that out with that or what, but yeah, Albrecht and his Paladin now peeling to go after the Ghost. I mean, just with their weapon strength alone, they'll be able to do some damage there. It'll be interesting. Neither Albrecht or Lewin actually do magic damage in melee, which I find pretty interesting, considering that, you know, Lewin at least you would think is a Grail tier unit can deal magic damage. But Knights Lionhearted pushing through, getting these bombers down. Very nice damage there in terms of, yeah, it's very nice charge damage, I guess. Men-at-Arms and Battle Pilgrims also following up. Trebuchets still have plenty of ammo, so if they can stay online and keep firing, then that will keep this relatively even. The heroic situation is definitely not great, though, with this Paladin, and these handguns just continuing to open up on Albrecht and his Paladin buddy here. It's anyone's game, though. Battle Pilgrims rushing back in at this point. The Knights Lionhearted do get a little bit of an engagement on the Admiral, and honestly, if Albrecht and the Paladin came over and sniped that Admiral, potentially get the healing out, you know, because there's only lore of vampires for healing, right? But it will be tough, definitely, and losing out on the caster for Bretonnia is really rough, because Albrecht and this Paladin will need some healing into the late game. There's just so many handguns still online. I guess not really handguns, there's really mostly only pistols. There's a handful of handguns here. And the Questing Knights also fighting the Mournguls reasonably well in melee. Mournguls are crumbling, but of course Mournguls have the Hunger, which is like half of crumbling damage, more or less. It will regenerate that very, very quickly. Knights Lion-Hearted charging through. They are almost gone, though, and that is a big, big loss because their magic damage is needed here to take on Paladins. And you might think it's a bad idea to bring ethereal units against Bretonnia because they don't have much magic damage, and it can be risky for sure. But in this matchup, given that they're likely not to bring the Grail tier units because they're so expensive, yeah, it's an interesting one. Green Knight is here for magic damage, and Green Knight is definitely a superior combatant, although I think the Paladins trade pretty cost effectively into him regardless. Faye also does magic damage, and she can fight those Paladins decently well because she has heavy magic resistance, so their attacks hardly do anything to her. So yeah, Faye actually I think would have been specifically a much better pick if you're up against the Drowned, because you can fight these guys with the Fae. Could also take Gotrek, I guess. Doesn't his Rune Axe give him magic damage?
Come on, lads! Get stuck in.
Something like that. I don't know. Battle Pilgrims will get in close as they fight these Mongols and everything, try and finish it off. Guns still poking and prodding at Albric and his bodyguard here. And let's see, it looks like they're going after that Paladin in the back. Try and start to bail out the artillery crews and just play off of the artillery. The Gun Crab Lord's got to be careful. He's very far forward, or she's very far forward rather, away from any support here. And if Albric, again, if Albric and the Paladin come back and just goon her real quick, that could be the end of days for the zombies. I mean, they have still these 2 pistol zombies and the 1 mortar. I guess there is this other Paladin as well. It's still a lot of heroic power to take down, but isolated like this is exactly how Albric and this Paladin would want it. They can now team up and 2v1, just get some heavy hits in there. The Paladin does manage to squeak away. How many times have I said Paladin in this match? Anyone know? Anyone want to do a quick counter? But it does force into crumbling there. Of course, crumbling being a very balanced mechanic, you can still continue to maneuver. And very nicely done. Admiral going back to the mortars. Definitely wants to try and reunify with this other Paladin if she can. But 1 Paladin pops, and with that, Bretonnians clawed their way somewhat back in this balance of power, and all the trebuchets are back online. So zombies are in a little bit of trouble here. You can see this pistol zombie is done. It's crumbling, and then they're now switching over to this other pistol zombie. So will Albric be able to take this? A very back and forth game so far. And yeah, Albric for now just kind of chilling, waiting for the mortars to get a bit more work done before charging in. Will he try and get at this next Paladin with the Admiral in the area? That's going to be tricky. He really needs to try and separate him if at all possible, which is why I would just stick with these trebuchets. At this point, it's a lot of RNG as well, reliant on the trebuchet shots, and once the heroic combat ensues, the dice rolls on the single model combat matter so much more, right? Because you only get 1 attack animation roll versus 1 model, and so if you miss that roll, it's a giant deal. Stagger lock is also a very real thing, but Albric and his Paladin making their play. They charge down, get some solid hits on the damn dude, but the pistol is popping, and that pistol does a significant amount of damage. 400 DPS, 416 DPS over 10 seconds, and I guess not DPS, DP, yeah, 10 seconds? I don't know. Damage per 10, DP 10. But look at this. Paladin just gets absolutely worked as he is isolated now away from the Admiral. Absolutely wild situation. That being said, look at this. Look at this. The damage on these guys is pretty legit now, and that pistol hurts, man, from the Admiral, the Pistolier Lord, which is, you know, the most acceptable of the Vampire Coast Lords, because she is a literal Pistolier Lord when you think about it. But the damn Paladin has taken a ton of damage here. 660 weapon strength from Albric, so he really doesn't care too much, about that physical resistance. The question is, can the Paladin, Albric's Paladin, hold another nice charge there, taking advantage of the charge bonus, and the damn Paladin is down. Wow, big comeback potentially in play here. Albric now and his Paladin need to absolutely get on the Admiral. Get on the Admiral quick before the Paladin's gone. The Paladin is probably going to rout at this point. And you know you're in for desperate times when the Bretonnian artillery crew has to run into combat. All of this crumbling, man. I guess is he just waiting for more of as many of the pistol mobs possible to crumble? But honestly, just charging in, starting to cycle charge this pistol Admiral, I think would be enough. But really just utilizing the last of the ammunition on those trebuchets. Wow, 118 kills on this trebuchet. Let's see, only 51 there, but that one's got a chevron further, so interesting. Oh man, is this it? This is it. The trebuchet crew comes back. They're gonna run in there, and these pistols, these poor pistols. Oh man, are the trebuchets actually, they're not aiming at the pistol Admiral, are they? No, they totally could though, to be honest. Although the mortar's going to rout them off pretty soon, and then Albric will have to come down and engage. He could just to come down and engage anyway. I mean, there's basically no supporting units left. Probably could have engaged a while ago, but yeah, at this point, the balance of power now ticks in Bretonnia's favor, and how about that? An absolutely wild back and forth game. Paladins eventually just overextending at a point and then getting gooned out, and now the wrath of Albric is very real. I mean, granted, he could still get some terrible RNG and get killed here. It looks like the Paladin actually goes down, and that does mean that, yeah, Albric is now without the Guardian effect. He will take a bit more damage on those melee attacks, and it looks like he's going to try and pull away there as the trebuchets continue to fulfill the attacking rule, shooting at this mortar crew. It itself has 105 kills, man. What an absolute duel. Crumbling is for coffee cake. Yeah, it's for baked confectionaries. Oh yeah, there it is. Nice charge bonus. Albric, 97 charge bonus. Holy cow. I never realized he had so much charge with his Spirit of the Tempest passive. That is absolutely massive. He's going to get some big hits there with that active. Even as it does fade a little bit over time. Trebuchet better not hit Albric here, though. That would be an absolute travesty. Oh, Albric maybe try and pull out for another cycle charge here. Yep, like he will do so. That poor mortar crew. I say poor mortar crew. They are undead, so it's probably deserved. Oh, it looks like it was going to shoot. Oh, you better not shoot and hit Albric. Ah ha ha! Oh man, Albric might just lose this. I mean, I say it's a win for Bretonnia, but it's definitely not done yet. If Albric has bad RNG here, that's it. I mean, that is game blouses. So let's see. I'm going to keep the health bars up, even though we can't really see what's going on much. Oh man, look at that. Was that a hit? Was that friendly fire? I can't tell. It definitely looked like it might have made contact, but oh no, Albric might rout here. Oh, he gets a hit. That was a pretty good hit there. 700 HP. The hunger means that she is regenerating while she's in melee here, and she uses Invocation of Nehek to stabilize herself there. Oh man, this is so close. This is so close. But since this Trebuchet counts as a multi-model unit, and it's in melee, that does count as attacking. Albric comes down, gets another big hit, but does he have enough at this point? The double healing is in play, and it was at least until Invocation of Nehek wears off there. And, oh man... Oh, it's pure RNG at this point, but I do think Albric is going to take it as Disintegration kicks in, and what a tight finish. Holy cow. That was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, and that you can. I mean, the multi-model unit is engaged, right? So... All that matters is that the multi-model unit is engaged, right? Because Albric doesn't count as attacking anyway. GG. Wow. That was super close. I thought the Admiral might pull that back there at the very end, but that probably came down to not mostly RNG. Obviously, both players played very well. Both players definitely scrapping until the very finish. The RNG was a factor there, I feel, at the end for that single entity combat. It could have gone either way. But look at these trebuchets, man. 128, 58, 131. That's why you bring these guys in this matchup. Not to mention the knights, 106, 113, 164 for these battle pilgrims, 127 for the defenders. On J Phoenix side, mortars, 105, 52. Major chevron action, 97 for the Mongols. 66 for these bombers. 69, very nice for these zombie polearms. Don't see that too often. 58 for the Pistol Admiral. GG. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Mark Venziel. It's Crab Lady's strong, independent woman. Ooh, it's definitely my favorite Vampire Coast Lord, because she's literally a Pistolier Lord, like I said. But that was very close at the end. Very, very close. The Paladins, on Paladins, on Paladins. Oh yeah, very strong. Looks like Golden Eagle. Golden Eagle had to dip. That was close enough. We'll let J Phoenix play on. Yeah, that was super close, so I'll allow J Phoenix to play on, and looks like we've got Deadly Bunny up next. So Deadly Bunny, if you're watching, I'll also send you a quick PM just in case. Yep, so that's that there. Let's get this going here. Oh, geez, that was kind of loud. My apologies. Good stuff, though. Man, that was a wild one. Let's go ahead and switch the map. We'll go Galbaraz next. It's kind of like the same map, so actually maybe I'll do something different. Like Harriot Ridge. You know what it is, Golden Eagle? You should just continue to sign up. That way you get stuff done, right? Like the stuff that needs to happen happens. I don't know. Alright, gotta stretch my legs a little bit here. I think I'm actually gonna go grab a drink of water real quick too. I'll be right back. And we're back. Yeah, Jay Phoenix, to answer your question, if you can choose to play the same faction, including sub-factions, like counts as the same faction, and you get no bans, or you can pick a new faction that you haven't used yet, and you get 2 bans. That's how this one works. What you gonna do? Hunts Marshal, okay. The other yellow pajamas boys. Hunts Marshal it is. Are we really gonna have a banana pajama mirror? Pick Wolfheart, ban Dawi, and counts. Okay, that's acceptable. Vampire counts. You should make sure you have something. Basically, I'm a big fan of the Lamian, and here's why. You have her magic resistance item means you can protect something from getting absolutely wrecked by Sisters of Aberlorn. Not that that's a super common pick there, but she also has Penumbral Pendulum, which is great for clearing out like halberd boxes if they do bring one. She's a Dragon Lord, so you can also take her up in the air. With her abilities, she's pretty tanky too. Like, she can avoid taking damage. The attack debuff is really nice as well. You can use that on the high elf melee box to take away their killing power, so you can grind them down easier. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Lamian there. Breath attacks also, just killing models outright. That's what you want to look for, right? If you can kill models on the elf units, they can't heal them back, and you can. So definitely you want to play into the attrition game as much as you can, like corpse cart support, definitely a thing. You probably want a Mortis engine as well, pretty wide because the high elves can't take a lot of numbers. So yeah, I'd have to kind of put together a build, but Huntsman Mirror, Empire Mirror is awesome. It's definitely a lot of fun. I do wish they would pick different color schemes, though. Yeah, exactly. You can pop the magic resistance if the high elves have a Tempest too. Exactly. Yep, exactly. That Scepter of Stability is the name of the item that she has. It's a very strong item in quite a few matchups, actually. That's one where I would use it. I would use her probably against any of the elves, to be honest. Because the seduction ability she has as well, I think gives a minus speed and melee. Is it speed and melee attack in an AoE? I want to say it's quite good. Anyway. Oh, yes, thank goodness. J Phoenix switch color scheme. For all of our sakes. Okay. Is this mirror? Yes. Yes, it is mirror. Oh, let's see. It does look like it's going to be base Empire versus Hunts Marshal's Expedition, though, which is totally fine with me. It's a fun one. Empire Mirror is probably one of the more interesting mirrors in the game, in my opinion. Yes, thank you, Med2 Music. Fade that out. And pause that, and get right into it. MP Hero Rot Ridge. One of my favorite maps right now. It's got some decent terrain, but it's pretty well balanced, and it's not too big. Using artillery can be pretty interesting, though, because both players kind of start in the front and center of their deployment zone has this trees, so you got to choose, like, you want to try and deploy out over here on this little hilltop, and then potentially, if you do, and you know your opponent doesn't have artillery, they can choose to go with like a wide flank down over around this way, utilize the cover on these sides here. It's kind of this frozen lake area over here that's pretty cool. Be funny if there was some kind of slippery debuff on this ice, but there's not. Yeah, let's see. They can do. On builds for the Empire, we've got Hellstorm Rocket Battery, we've got Cannons, Marcus, Empire Knights, Huntsman with a Fire Wizard and an Amber Wizard. State troops up front. Interesting build. Very, very interesting. For the Hunts Marshal's Expedition, of course, the Hunts Marshal. Grey Wizard. Crossbowmen. We've got some great swords. Couple of great swords. Flagellants. One cannon, the Hammer of Witches. More crossbowmen. Interesting. So, the Empire brought the Huntsman, but the Hunts Marshal's Expedition didn't. And both of them brought Marcus, and there's 3 Reichsguard here also for the Hunts Marshal's Expedition. Sunmaker, it's a fun unit. That's why you see it so much, because it's very fun. And I have to say, the Hunts Marshal's Expedition, like red and gold combination, is a little bit less egregious than Balthazar Gelt's like pure banana pajamas. I actually think the Hunts Marshal's Expedition looks pretty decent, mixed kind of red and gold. Grand old time. And looks like we're already landing some shots from the Imperial Marcus. Expedition Marcus getting up into range to try to take some shots at him, but of course visibility is a thing. He does have stock and snipe, of course. Sunmaker so far has not opened up yet, but it looks like it's about to. Let's get in close as these rockets scream in. Oh, brutal damage on the Flagellants, on the Sigmar Suns, rather. They just get absolutely shredded on that volley. Oh, this crossbowmen also take a volley there. Decent damage being spread around. It looks like the Hammer of Witches has been switched on to the Imperial Marcus. These crossbows doing some pretty good damage. So far, they haven't made contact on any of the great swords, though. Pretty much deleting the Sigmar Suns in and of itself is pretty decent, but other than that, I mean, crossbows are an okay target to shoot at. They're not going to generate a ton of value. But it looks like Marcus is having a missile duel right now with himself. The Imperial Marcus definitely taking the worst end of that as they plank back and forth with their artillery here. Manticore Summon already been used up in here. And the Reichsguard, it looks like, took some damage from the Imperial Cannon here. That rocket battery definitely making its presence felt. I still am not 100% sure in terms of value where it's at, but Imperial Marcus definitely hurting pretty bad. I don't know what he's been focusing his ammo on, but Hunts Marshal Marcus been focusing himself. Anyway, it's funny. It's a weird situation to be in. Could you imagine fighting your doppelganger but in different clothes and with an entire army, like both of you are leading an army? That would be a trip. Anyway. Looks like the Summon Manticore are going to come after Hunts Marshal Marcus, though. He's going to have to use his Hunts Marshal moves and skedaddle on out of there. Oof. Yellow Greatswords take a couple of glancing blows there, but those crossbows definitely got lit up. Hunts Marcus has to use his net here. He's going to get up, though, and start to pop some shots into that Manticore, hopefully be able to outmaneuver. Got a nice Penumbral Pendulum hitting the Imperials, Sigmar's sons. They get engaged on the Greatswords there. The Huntsmen also coming forward. I don't know what exactly they're going to be wanting to shoot at here. Perhaps the Caster would be the best option. Maybe they just have a missed order here, but a nice Burning Head isn't going to do too much damage to those Reiksguard, other than the cannon and Marcus's shots. Not too much can do damage to them here, but the cannon has so far generated great value against that blob of Reiksguard there. They're going to punch through, though. Looks like the Empire Knights are folding, so it's kind of funny also that the Reiksguard are fighting for the Hunts Marshal, and then you've got the Empire Knights fighting fighting for the Empire. It just seems kind of funny. Like the Banner of Reichland, you'd think the Reiksguard would be fighting for them, but no, the Reiksguard are in rebellion, I guess. They're in cahoots with the Rebel Marcus, who is doing just fine. His caster is shattered, though, and the Hellstorm Rocket Battery is out of ammunition at this point, up to 110 kills. Did it actually pay for itself? I mean, if you add up just the Sigmar Sons and those 2 crossbows, I don't think is actually enough. Maybe. It's probably pretty close, actually, now that I think about it, in terms of paying for itself. But, yeah, the Huntsmen now are going to turn and fire on the Reiksguard, who were able to mostly pull out of that engagement with the Empire Knights without taking much damage, and that's really credit to the armor and the melee defense of the Reiksguard. They also have much better AP values in charge. So this charge, they should actually deal some pretty good damage to those Empire Knights. Nothing major, but something at least. Meanwhile, the Hellstorm Rocket Battery used up all its ammunition, so just a little bit of a bait here for these Reiksguard, acting as a speed bump as the Huntsmen then turn and fire. But no, actually they're focusing the Flagellants. Marcus gets a focus shot on himself and then turns, focus shots the other one. That's amazing. Yeah. The cannon here for the Hammer of Witches here for the Hunts Marshal. I'm not really sure what he's shooting at. Just maybe the Tatter Sigmar Sons there. Got to be careful. Might do some damage to the Reiksguard. But these Reiksguard pushing through and actually proving to be pretty good in this matchup. Most people would just bring Empire Knights, but they actually get a pretty decisive advantage here. And the Empire Knights, despite getting a solid engagement at first, just end up getting run down, and the spend on Huntsmen versus Crossbowmen ends up proving relatively decisive here. These Reiksguard are able to push back and start to overwhelm a lot of this line. The Flagellants, too, of course, being unbreakable, able to continuously pressure those boys. But here come the Reiksguard getting home on the Imperial Cannon, dealing with the crew very efficiently. I guess maybe not very efficiently, but they do start to deal with the crew a little bit. Maybe they actually had a charge on those Huntsmen, but they'll be able to take out the cannon regardless. Imperial Marcus is kind of on his last legs here a little bit as the Amber Wizard is revealed. These Reiksguard pushing into the woods to try and get at Marcus. Manticore still chasing the Hunts Marshal, the official Hunts Marshal, who is running for his days, but he does have some great sword support there. He should be able to tank out that Manticore damage okay without getting completely wrecked. He's getting thrown around quite a bit there. The Hammer of Witches now side-shotting in the few Empire Knights that do remain. They are getting some decent charges here, but at this point, Hunts Marshal pulling a pretty decisive advantage for Deadly Bunnies, and the Reiksguard, man, I may actually save this one. Oh, man. That was a good one. That was a good one. The Reiksguard ended up being quite decisive. I didn't realize, but the spend you can see for Deadly Bunny is on the melee focus versus having all of these Huntsmen to protect and extra artillery. Like I said, I think the Sunmaker, it got really good value on that first volley, but then it kind of struggled to pay for itself. I don't know. It probably did pay for itself, but maybe just barely. This cannon was a lot better value spent, and the Swordsman kind of just got run over a little bit there. Flagellants, great pick. The Great Swords also kind of just going for the focused elite rush here for Deadly Bunnies. Ended up proving pretty solid play, so fun stuff. You don't get to see Reiksguard use too often to good effect, so I like that. I'm going to save that one. And, yeah, too close to the sun today. A little bit, J Phoenix, a little bit. It was both very fun, though. Very, very fun. Let's get the next competitor lined up, though. It is going to be a Hadriz. in the house. So Jupiter arrives, basically, is what that means. But, you know, more Skaven-y, maybe. Or he might play something else. And let's get the next map pick locked. We're gonna go for the good old Oakenhammer. Very basic map. Nice open map. Sunmaker was a fun one. It's interesting. I find that the Sunmaker, maybe because of the way the ammo is calculated, it ends up running out of ammo, and I think it does have just straight up way less ammo than the regular Hellstorm, rather. But yeah, that's an interesting pick. I mean, it's fun for sure, but it just dumps its ammo so fast that and it's kind of RNG dependent too. If it does end up getting bad volleys, then it may not pay for itself, you know. So too close to the Sunmaker. I see what you did there. How would you buff Swordmasters to make them worth their price? I'd probably just reduce their price. To be honest, I don't really think they need a ton of buffs. I think they're decently balanced in terms of their stats. They just need to be a little bit less expensive. Like you could probably, what are they, 1250 right now? You could probably make them 1200 or even 1150. Maybe make them and Executioners both 1150 to be the same as like Black Orcs, and maybe that might be too much, honestly, though, because Swordmasters aren't that far off from being very cost-effective. I honestly think, yeah, maybe 100-point cost reduction would be all they need. It still would be a little bit specialist, though, and it's not so much that... it's more a unit-type problem. Like, Elite Great Weapon Infantry is just... sorry, this music's kind of loud right now. This Great Weapon Infantry, especially Elite Great Weapon Infantry, is just kind of a rough sell right now. Like, there's just lots of things in the game that are good at killing infantry, and so to take like an expensive armored infantry that specializes in killing other infantry, it's like they get killed by magic monsters, cav charges, chariot charges, you know, artillery, armor-piercing missile units, just mass regular missile units. The coolest looking infantry model, ooh, that's... Now, you may not like this one, Falcon, but for me, personally, it's actually chosen with shields. Like, I don't know why, but there's something about the Chaos, the super elite, like, heavy Chaos warriors with this, like, crazy ornate, like, Chaos plate with these giant tower shields that are, like, literally bigger than a human. I don't know why. Chosen with shields is probably... And you could even take it to the next level and say Aspiring Champions, probably, honestly. So they even got, like, the glowing power swords and, like, the whole, like, glowing helmets, and it almost looked like bronze armor, like brass or something. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Aspiring Champions. Warp Fire Throwers. Yeah, I'm going to go with Aspiring Champions. Although, of course, the floppy hats are very nice. It's just, yeah. Floppy hats are for the meme value more than anything. What other ones would I class up there, though? Honestly... I don't really like the elf infantry. I'm not really a fan of the pointy hats. I'm really just not a fan of the pointy hats. And there's not really any, like, heavy order human infantry, right? Like, besides great swords a little bit, foot squires, meh. I mean, I'm not really... If the great swords didn't have the floppy hats, I'm gonna be honest, if they had, like, actual badass helmets, then I'd probably like them the most. But, yeah. There's no, like, heavy pike infantry or anything, like, you know, like some Landsknecht or something. Brightly colored red crests. Actually, Temple Guards are pretty awesome as well. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, Temple Guards look sick. They look so cool. Yeah, if I had to put, probably, let's go with, Aspiring Champs, #1, with the Chosen as, like, kind of an honorable mention. Basically the same thing. I'd probably go Temple Guard number 2. Let's see. Black Orcs probably number 3 for me. I also really like Black Orcs. I like heavy infantry, if you didn't notice. Most of them are very heavy infantry. Yeah, I wish Aspiring Champions were better. Like, I wish they had, like, Armor Sundering or something, or some other kind of utility aspect to them, so that they would make them usable. Or even just give them, like, double the HP, and that would make them actually pretty good. Like, they're not that far off from being good. I just wish they were much better. But anyway, it looks like we've got Wood Elves versus Beastie Boys, so let's take a look at what we've brought here. Very appropriate and thematic matchup. Azrai Spears. I would probably put Azrai Spears up there, or just War Dancers in general. I actually really like both variants. Their animations are very flashy, but they're not like, I don't know, it makes sense for them to be flashy, because they're literally war dancing, you know, like, the Swordmasters are war dancing, but they're not war dancers, right? A lot of the elf infantry tries to war dance, but they're not war dancers. War dancers are war dancers, though, so it makes sense for them. Anyway, let's not think about it too hard. For Hadrez Wood Elves here, he's definitely going with the theme of the angry autumn trees, and he's got Durthu here with the Winterheart Guards, who actually are one of the least cost-efficient regiments for now in the game. They are, like, compared to the Sigmars, I guess the Sigmar Sons and them, and I think the Gobos too, are all more expensive than their fully chevroned counterpart, because of the Unbreakable, but these guys are, because of that, they end up being pretty expensive, but they are unbreakable. We've got a couple of Swift Shiver Shards here. Dryads, Wild Riders with Shield, Sisters of Thorn, Branch Wraith, a Grey Eagle, a Wild Eagle, some more Wild Riders over here. For the Beastie Boys, of course, we're going to see not Morker, but a Wild Beast Lord on a Chariot, Gorbel, Brave Shaman Lord Wild, also Chariot, 2 Razorgore Chariots, so love that. Razorgore Chariots are an awesome unit. We've got Ungor Spearman Herds with shields, some more Ungors, Chaos Poison Hounds with some Centigores. So quite the mobile Beastmen strike force, and I like that quite a bit. This Ungor line could go all in on the Vanguard, and it looks like he has gone all in on the Vanguard. Both of them going pretty heavy on the Vanguard, but on opposite corners. So now they'll have to turn and face each other. This rock may end up being part of the battle, so we'll go ahead and just set the camera right here. Gonna just take a peek as if we're like a bird watching the battle or something. I don't know. It looks like the Centaurs and the Hounds sweeping up around the side here to try and take a position, but again, this rock could end up being a little bit of a factor here as you see the Wild Riders kind of maneuver. These ones, yeah, just striking in, utilizing this to kind of protect the flank here. Question is, will they actually make the push here? Nope, they nope out of that. Both players kind of nope out of that, which makes sense. But as Beastmen kind of nope out of that, Wild Riders do get a quick hit and run there. They are managed to mostly get out of there, but this one, oh man, that might be bad. Oof. A little bit of a miscast on Durthu. Thankfully didn't take too much damage there, but those Wild Riders did end up taking a tiny bit of damage. It was maybe worth it for that quick hit and run charge, try and draw the Beastmen a little bit out of position, but these Chariots are going to be pretty painful. The Swift Shiver Shards really need to find a target to open up on, and a very nice Vile Tide contacting those Wild Riders and the Dryads as well. Beastmen going all in for a concerted push right up the center, just straight into the infantry. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Meanwhile, the Swift Shivers are focusing in that area quite aggressively. Durthu now matched up against the Gorbel. Not a great situation for him. Durthu, being an absolute Chad, though, cares little for Gorbel's tiny, puny mass, and he's just going to Chad through, although he does get wrapped up by Centigores and Hounds there. Looks like the Beastmen Chariots pull out for a timing push. The Beast Lord just gets absolutely shattered by Swift Shiver Shards, though. He is already done, which is absolutely massive. We're going to see a Sword of Daith here, debuffing the armor of the Razorgore Chariots. The Swift Shiver Shards then will do a little bit more damage. They have decent AP values, and the double shot in particular just means they have really high DPS, especially for an archer-type unit. But they are going to get contacted here now. Nothing really to protect. as the Centaurs and the Chariots push through. Durthu really can only be in so many places at the same time. With the Summoned Cygor, he can't stay and fight in that particular pocket. He then re-maneuvers over here to get over with his spears. Brutal splash attacks. Durthu hits like 15 models with his splash attacks. It's ridiculous. But at this point, the numbers game is starting to tell a little bit against the Wood Elves as the Sisters of Thorn and the Wild Riders start to get wrapped up, although they do have flank support here from this side. Nice Vile Tide. The Sisters of Thorn in particular are a very high value target to be hitting that with. But Hadra is doing as much as he can to keep those Swift Shiver Shards moving, and the Eagle now comes in for support. The Chariots are a little bit strung out and isolated here. No, that actually wasn't the Beast Lord that got absolutely shattered earlier. No, he's still here. Okay, I thought that might have been him. Yeah, the random Eagle, it's definitely fun. It does apply nice rear attack penalties, and with a decent charge, you can kind of use that to be added to pick away at these Chariot units. I actually really like that. One of the Chariot models just went down there for this Razorgore Chariot. Apocalyptic Vision, Horn of the First Beast, though. Look at that 88 melee attack on Chariots in melee with their, headbutt animations. The pigs are actually doing legit damage there. Just in a grind fight, which is kind of hilarious. But that's one of the reasons why you take the Beast Lord. Fortunately, the Chariots are having to retreat now, as a lot of their support is kind of getting terrified by Durthu. We do have some Ungors coming back, though, at this point. And the Eagle almost over-pursuing a little bit, potentially, but the Swift Shiver Shards are gone off the side of the map now. Yeah, there's no way they're going to rally before that dude runs off. Oh, man, look at that dude at the end. He was booking it. Absolutely booking it. But the Wild Riders and Sisters of Thorn can keep following up on these Razorgore Chariots, and in particular, when the Sisters of Thorn, if they were to come over in here and apply that Poison Missile debuff, it's going to be pretty hard for the Razorgore Chariots to actually catch the Swift Shiver Shards here, but it does look like both units getting caught up, and again, just getting a little bit spread out right now is potentially a problem here. Definitely wants to try and play off of this infantry advantage as much as he can. But obviously with these mobile units being constantly harassed, it's pretty tough. Those Wild Riders did get another Chevron there, it looks like. Also taking a Vile Tide straight to the face. At this point, though, it's very, very even. I mean, in terms of balance of power and like win probability, I would say that's probably pretty accurate. It is going to be tough to take down Durthu, but if he can keep all these Chariots alive and cycle charge them in the late game, that is a viable strategy. It's just a matter of if he can keep these Chariots alive or not against all the mobile Wood Elf units, considering the Beastmen still have a bit of a numbers advantage here. We look, yeah, not quite double, but close to double the model count still of the High Elves. It should be interesting. These Winterheart Guards being unbreakable obviously will be really nice. They'll continue fighting, and just in general, the Elves' high leadership here will benefit them. A really nice Shield of Thorns too, bound Shield of Thorns from the Sisters of Thorn, of course. Getting extra weapon damage, in particular on these Wild Riders, is really nice. Puts them up to 50 weapon damage. Absolutely huge. They're able to break this Razorgore Chariot with Durthu's help. And also chasing off these Ungor Spears. Very nicely done. Sisters of Thorn, great support unit. Have been just absolutely all over the place. 96 kills on them as well. So not only supporting, but also dealing significant damage. Durthu, though, starting to take some big hits. And it looks like we're going to see a Manticore summon. No, a Cygor summon. No, Manticore summon. From the Wood Elves, from Durthu to help himself out, which is exactly what he needs here. He does terrify away the Beast Shaman, and I don't think he has enough, given the Vile Tides that we've seen, to pop another Cygor summon, and it does look like the Beastmen start to run out of steam at that point. A lot of the units had fled right off the side of this map here, since the engagement kind of ended up unfolding towards this side of the battlefield. Oh man, what a wild one. Get it? Wild? Yeah. Durthu, though, just absolutely chatting it up, able to hold the line. And how about that Grey Eagle? You were memeing about this, Falcon, but this Grey Eagle actually almost got a Chevron, I think. So, yeah, maybe it paid for itself. Maybe not. Not as much as this Manticore did, probably in the time that it was alive. I don't know about the Chariots part, Falcon. If the Chariots are cycle charging him, the armor-piercing Chariots, at least, they'll do damage to him over time. It just depends on how much health they have. But yeah, with enough of the Chariots left, he could have. But in that type of a situation where they kind of got routed off there, and especially Gorbel getting pounded, Yeah, great work with the Wild Riders as well. Just 127, 77, 80 kills, 97 for the Sisters of Thorn. Swiftshiver Shards got some good initial damage, kind of ended up being a little bit of a distraction tool, but Dryads also 138, 85. That's, Dryads against Ungors. I'm actually not the biggest fan of the regular Ungors. I really like Ungor Spears, but the regular Ungors are pretty inefficient from what I've found. 91 kills, too, for the Unbreakable Spears. Winterheart Guards, not bad at all. Fun stuff. GG. Yeah, Sword of Daith is pretty good against Chariots. I always forget, too, it does damage, including the armor debuff, which, again, you use that armor debuff in a specific timing along with the Wild Riders, and it ends up being pretty good. So let's go ahead and get Valkanos in, restart the music. Awesome stuff. Love that Durthu gameplay. Fantastic Wild Rider play, too. Fun stuff. I definitely forgot to post an announcement in my own Discord, though. That's funny. Go ahead and pop that in here. Winterheart Guards or Frostbite Phoenix? Who will get Frostbite earlier? Probably the Frostheart Phoenix. I don't know. Both of them have the slowing aura, though, don't you know? Plus 200 gold? I don't know. I would say if you didn't give them any buffs, even just as it is right now, they should be 900. And then, yeah, with the buffs you described, I would say 1,000, 1050 maybe. Make this spell like 20 Winds of Magic to cast. Yeah, with the poison and with the extra leadership, I would say 20 Winds of Magic to cast. As it is right now, I'd agree like 16 to 18. Isn't it? What is it? Only 12 right now or 14? Yeah. Manticore, very strong. I kind of liked it when Skaven were the only ones that could summon over 20. Like, I get why they changed it, but it was kind of fun and unique for Skaven. I don't know, I think 20 is maybe too much for just a regular Manticore. As it is, I would say probably 18 would be fine. I do agree it should cost more gold to take on your caster, though. Oh, yes. Yeah, Spirit Leech is a cheaper spell than Enfeebling Foe, right? That's what that means? Yeah, the spells actually do have different costs in terms of gold. Spirit Leech is not that great of a spell. I mean, it's okay in some... A lot of the time, if you're using on single entities, you're kind of throwing, especially if they have healing, just throwing your Winds of Magic down a drain. I'm going with the Temple Guards, Falcon, but that's because I don't like the pointy hats of the High Elves, and the Lizardmen are very unique and cool. Slawn butt. Looks like Hadra's sticking with Elves, no bans. And Valkanos gonna counter with Norska. Interesting. This is an interesting matchup. Historically, it's been thought of as Norska favored, but I think you can definitely do some things with High Elves. Yeah, deck droppers minus 50 gold. That sounds about right. Yes, unanimously Temple Guards win. Yeah, because they see the Slamba all day, right? They get to gaze in all its glory. Oh, need to get some coffee or something. Ooh, getting tired. Illyrian beavers. Illyrian. Oh, I can't even read that. Illyrian. Hey, what's up, Samurai Warrior? Alright, Happy Puppy, let me know. Is that even a question, Wicked? Let's see, we got builds now, so let's take a look here. Thank you again, MedTube Music. Cool. Here we are, Storm Demon. Interesting map. You kind of got this small deployment zone to work with, so there is typically like a redeployment phase in a way, but let's see what we got for Valkanos. Marauders up front, Marauders, Marauders, Marauders. Penta-Marauder in a little bit of a pentagon there. We've got Wolfric Lewandra, Shaman Sorcerer, Lord of Fire, whole bunch of Cav and Dogs. 3 Skin Wolves, not 4 Skin Wolves. And for the Wood Elves, Hadra's sticking with the Durthu train. He's got Durthu with Eternal Guards, Winterheart Guards here. He's got Glade Riders with some Hagbane tips included, Wild Riders, including the Wild Hunters of Kurnos. More Wild Riders over here. So quite all in with the cavalry. He's also got a Branch Wraith. No Sisters of Thorn this time, just all Wild Riders and Glade Riders. With a handful of infantry and the 1 Dryad. Yeah, pretty small troop count for Wood Elves. Durthu. Durthu's so cool, man. Showing off his sword. Look at the length of that thing. I mean, just absolutely thick. Now he blows a horn out of his butt, and that signals the start of the battle. So let's see, Norska might try and play this relatively aggressive here, but he does have to be careful not to get his mobility beat up. It's going to be a lot of dependency on who gets the good engagements, right? Because the Skin Wolves in a sustained fight will be able to beat the Wild Riders. Wild Riders, if they get a good charge though, we're going to do a lot of shock damage to the Skin Wolves. So it's kind of anyone's game. The Wild Hunters of Kurnos having magic damage is quite helpful here because Skin Wolves do rely somewhat on their physical resistance. 20% physical resistance, only 15 armor for the base version. So yeah, that will potentially matter quite a bit there. But keep in mind also that the Hagbane tips deal magic damage as well. Something that not a lot of people remember. Blade Riders in particular with the Hagbane tips, because they outrange the Norskins very heavily here, they can apply that poison debuff at a distance and keep those Marauders effectively screened from the entire army, while also dealing quite a substantial amount of damage to them. entirely, literally full wood all day. Yeah, he can't not be full wood. Fireball comes in, does smack Durthu a little bit there in the face. Not too much damage though, and already you can see the Marauders are being punished pretty badly. The Skinwolves are trying to come forward here to get some kind of engagement, but if they get focused by these Hagbane tips, like I said, it will be a bad time. And here come the Wild Hunters getting a nice full clean charge here with their anti-large and magic damage. That's going to be extremely brutal. Thankfully the Wood Elves are able to somewhat... the Skinwolves are able to somewhat pull away from that engagement, but it looks like they may end up breaking there anyway. Same thing with these Skinwolves, like I said, get caught out in the open by the Wild Riders there. It's going to be a pretty bad time for them. So with those Skinwolves already looking down, it's potentially a little dicey. These Doggos were a little late on that support. They could have come in there and potentially bailed out those Wolves. But Boat being used in the back line now does apply a little bit of a debuff there. Didn't get the best contact on those units, but Durthu's taking quite a bit of damage. Hunter of Champions on him, and Wulfric also smashing him in the face with the Mammoth Tusk. But oh man, Valkanos is he gonna forget about this Wolf Squad entirely? Let them get charged? Yeah, it looks like unfortunately a little bit of a mistake there. Those Doggos are gonna get pretty well wrecked by the Wild Riders. And yeah, so far so good for the Wood Elves. Wulfric starts to take damage as Durthu gets some healing and kind of pulls this engagement back a little bit. He's now going to try and pull himself back a little bit and play off those Marauders. He's got some Marauders here, but they are a little bit overblobbed. This kind of weird, like, non-engagement now between the Beasts of Tashnar and the Wild Hunters of Kurnos. Because the Beasts of Tashnar count as infantry size, they might actually be able to get some okay damage there, but still 37 melee defense for the Wild Hunters of Kurnos. Not a lot for a unit of that price range, so any models that they can pick off there is more or less free damage. Not exactly, but Wulfric going down here is a big problem. All these Blade Riders with Hagbane tips, and there's not really a great answer for them as Norska. And just the volume of fire here is still enough, even though they don't have the highest DPS in the world, it's enough to deal consistent damage to Wulfric. Over here, yeah, Beasts of Tashnar getting ganged up on by multiple Wood Elf Cav, and that's going to be game for them. Pretty quick one for Hadriz. Yeah, they did. Dryads are beating Marauders. Is that even true? I don't know. They actually out-countered the Norskan Marauders okay because of the Enrage mechanic. Not really as much of a factor, but... Manticore Summon now being pulled to throw down on this Firecaster, I would imagine. No, he's going after someone else. Oh yeah, it goes to finish off Wulfric there. Prevent him from getting back in the battle. Gets a hit. Look at the Hagbane tip fire too. It's such a cool arrow effect. I love the arrow effects for the Wood Elves. Cat's giving me the side eye. Anyway, a little bit of a burning head there as the Firecaster desperately tries to make something happen. The Glade Riders definitely took some damage, but it's tough as the Norskins. Like I said, you don't really have a lot of great direct counters for them. Next patch, Hadriz receives a nerf, probably. He's been on a tear lately, for sure. Next patch, Nakai is replaced with Hadriz. I think I can agree to this. Definitely think I can agree. Cool, good stuff. GG's. Let's go ahead and get Killarinu in here now. Yeah, great stuff. Again, the Wild Rider play definitely on point. The Glade Riders, the range plus the poison makes them a very good trade against the Marauder Horsemen, and they cost about the same as Horsemasters. So that's actually very cost effective. Way to screen them out and just prevent your opponent from doing anything. But yeah, okay. Killarinu up next. And I am going to go grab some caffeine because I'm feeling a little bit tired. I'll be right back, guys. Bear with me just a couple minutes while we get things going. And let's put Music on. Here we go. All right, and I'm back. Got some dancing Wurzag for you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying that. Oh, look. Looks like my YouTube stream chat lagged out. Let me reload that. Yes. Good. Good. You guys like the dancing Wurzag. It's a fun one. There's a map with Feral Stegodon and Feral Paradons on it. Really? That's interesting. Oh, I do hope I remember to switch map too. Thank you for reminding me. Let's go for Plane of Spiders, maybe? Or should we make it really hard for Hadras and go with a tiny map like Troll Country? I could be mean, but I want to see some more Dirt Thieves, so we're gonna keep it fairly solid and go with Plane of Spiders. It's fun when people forget Wurzag behind in the woods and he dances while his army dies. Oh yeah. Wurzak danced while Black Crack fell. Essence of Chaos. Ooh. Oh yeah, he's got the jams. Absolutely vibing. Yeah, whoever they got to do those animations had way too much fun. That would be the best animation job for sure. Just absolutely vibing. Let's see what they can do. Yes, I did rate all the White Lion units as underrated. You're correct, sir, because you don't see them often enough. Yes, indeed. Thought I had given my cat an appropriate distraction, but apparently she still wants my attention. Okay, let me go grab something else to distract her. I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm back again. Looks like these guys are still picking their armies. Killerine decided to go with the Dark Elves. Very interesting. Lion cubs are overrated. Really? They're so adorable though. They're like tiny lions. It's also kind of hilarious when you think about it. Like, this lion infantry, or like the lion chariots, right? It's two lions pulling two dudes who have their, like, cousin's face on their shoulder, you know? Like, seems a little strange. I think the lions are pretty good. You just have to use them right. They're pretty squishy. They can take damage pretty easily. They have a lot of HP per model, but they have very low armor and defense. So, like, if they get charged by something, they can take a lot of damage very quickly. But if you use them to, like, countercharge things well, they're kind of a good dual anti-large, anti-infantry role. And they will absolutely shred hounds. Like, they are a hard counter to hound units. Fun. They're trying to stay away from the guys on the chariot. Okay, it makes sense when you put it like that, Happy Puppy. Oh man, that's brutal. Yeah, I like all the light line units though. I think they're all pretty decent. Line infantry, I've come around. I used to think they were terrible, but they're good in the right situation. There are certain matchups too, like Vampire Coast, where they can do okay. Good. 107 people watching right now. Thanks everyone for coming out. 55 likes too. That's a really good like percentage. Thank you guys. You are the best fans in the world. Officially. Skycutter when? You know, good question. That's a unit that, I don't know, I didn't ever think we'd see the Snotling Pump Wagons or War Wagons implemented, and they are in the game now, so who knows? Alright, these elves are waiting on me. Okay, I'm just lagging right here. It's like they're ready, so thank you, Wurzag, once again for your service. Wurzag's moves absolutely entertain. He is quite the dancer. Probably the best dancer in the world, actually. I don't know, Happy Puppy. I mean, you are one of my viewers, right? And I'm one of your viewers, so clearly we both have the best viewers. I think that's what they call circular logic, right? Puppy versus dog streamer war. Wow, we could do a best of 5. Or maybe an ODM QSA clan war, since I'm technically part of QSA. Or no, you're not ODM, XMT, I mean. Oops. Yeah, they are lower model count than any Hound unit, that's right, but they do enough weapon strength and they have enough splash damage that they'll kill multiple models, like, on contact, especially with their charge bonus active. So, like, they just kill the models of the Hounds so fast, because Hounds count as infantry, usually, that they're a really good counter for them. I know, I'm sorry. My brain is spaghetti, officially. Oh, this is an interesting one for Killarinu. Potentially playing a little bit too close to bolt throwers here could be a danger, but we've got Marathi in the air, some Cold One Knights, lots of Fear Spears. Durthu coming in once again. Yep, Durthu. He's got some units hidden here in the woods, some Wild Riders, Branch Wraith. We've got a Waystalker as well, Eternal Guard, some Way Watchers, and the Hawkeyes of Jakira. So 3 Way Watchers and a little bit of a Spear Box. Yeah, boy. Look at these. The bolt throwers themselves, like, it looks pretty cool, honestly, with all the ornate kind of designs and everything. Like, I would probably, if I had to pick between the Dark Elf bolt thrower and the High Elf bolt thrower, I would definitely grab one of these, because it looks just classy. Could you imagine having this thing in your front room? Your guests walk in, just immediately see it and know what's up. No questions needed. Almost has like a cool asymmetric design too. You notice how like the top bow is a little bit longer than the bottom one. I really like the design of the Reaper bolt thrower. It's like, oh yeah, that's my crossbow telescope. I don't know. Looks awesome though. You can see the little mechanical things down inside, kinda. These little like tracks. I don't know.
I will offer their blood to Cain.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Just having this thing like sitting in your front room, like people walk in, they're just like, oh, clearly this guy is someone I need to get to know. Limo chariot. Oh yeah, dude, the unicycle. Could you imagine how unstable that thing would actually be in real life? Just one giant wheel in the middle, like all off balance, like oh. You'd fall over so easy in that stupid thing. It'd be more about having the lizards themselves than the lizard limo. But yeah, out of any chariot in the game, I don't know. If we're talking multi-model chariots, out of any chariot in the game, I would probably most like to have... well, if I have the lion chariot, does that mean I have 2 lion pets as well? Because I'm down with that, for sure. If it's like purely just the aesthetics of the chariot only, I might go with the Tomb King chariot, honestly. Just to say it's like some historical artifact. Yeah, it's more about the color scheme for me. Like the black and gold is something that I'm a big fan of. But like both Hargoneth and Nagaraith are the best sub-factions for the Elves, by far. And like Azag's sub-faction is the classy orcs, the Bone Rattlers. Yeah, we don't have an Empire faction, black and gold, unfortunately. But you do have Knights of the Blazing Sun, which are basically that color scheme. Which is why they're the best looking unit on the Empire roster. Ooh, nice Penumbral Pendulum, just absolutely silences one of these Dread Spears here. And you can see how the Scourge Runner chariots move up, start to do some damage. They're not taking too much fire. Ooh, as soon as I say that, some of the volleys start to land and the Waywatcher damage gets very, very real. Right now, the scatter shot's being used on the Waywatchers to reasonably decent effect. The question is, how long can he sustain this without taking too much damage? And nice disruption with the Harpies as well. They are immediately going to get terrified from the mere presence of Durthu nearby. But at the very least, he is able to interrupt somewhat. Adra's also reacting a little bit late there to the Wild Riders, to the Dark Rider push, and Hawkrides actually have been mostly shut down at this point. Pretty decent stuff. Likewise, the Cold One Knights did get caught down here in the woods, but Marathi now jumps down with the Soul Stealer, and the other Cold One Knight's going to jump in. They'll be able to finish off that one unit of Wild Riders there, so actually pretty decent. I was saying he might be too close to the Bolt Throwers, but this is exactly what you need to do, is play up from them. Not stay too close, because the Waywatchers can't really get in range to shoot the Bolt Thrower crews right now, which is what they would probably want to do more than anything. Nice Soul Stealer, though, over here on Durthu. It's going to also hit these Eternal Guards, and this cavalry fight definitely pretty decisively in the Dark Elves' favor as the Wild Riders now routed off there. So interesting stuff. We've got more Dark Riders pushing this flank as well. They can now come in now that the Dark Riders, or sorry, the Wild Riders, all the Riders of different kinds. The Wild Riders now pushing around. They're going to get a really nice charge of these Cold One Knights into the side. That will hurt quite a lot, but Durthu is getting wrecked pretty well by Marathi, and Murderous Prowess now kicks up as well. Keep in mind that does increase the missile damage of these Bolt Throwers as well. If you take a look, they're up to 208 with that Scatter Shot. And the charge bonus in particular, Dark Riders up to 50 charge with that active, so pretty good stuff. They are going to take some friendly fire from the Bolt Throwers as they shoot in and just immediately basically get wrecked. But hey, they got one impactful charge, and that's basically all they need to pay for themselves against those Waywatchers. But the problem that he's running into now, Killerinu, is that the Waywatchers largely are still online, even though they're quite tattered. Oh, Marathi playing it very close here. Oh, gets terrified, unfortunately, right after her Soul Stealer went off. It does look like the effect still did hit, though, and is in full rotation there, so she does get the benefit of the healing, and also, you know, the damage on Durthu. It looks like the Branch Wraith is almost offline. If Marathi could come down and snipe the Branch Wraith, get rid of the healing, it does look like he gets one last Earthblood off, though, before he goes down, so a little bit more value there. Wild Riders coming back to shut down the Scourge Runners as they start to run shop all over what's left. These Wild Riders, or sorry, these Dark Riders, definitely a little bit of a mistake by Killerinu leaving them in combat here too long, but now they do peel into the back line to try and finish off the last of those Waywatchers. This is going to be very, very close. Marathi still fighting tooth and nail, and now both the Bolt Throwers have switched to single shot and are focusing on Durthu. This is bad news for him. It's good news for the archers, but definitely bad news for Durthu, as he could potentially get focused down here. Marathi able to just about finish off the Branch Wraith. Could throw another Soul Stealer here, And this might spell doom for Durthu. Let's see. I forget how much damage Soul Stealer does. I know it heals about 800 HP if I remember correctly, but let's see. Durthu goes down to like 200 hit points there. Oh, down to 90 hit points. One more Bolt Thrower shot, and he's down. Goes down from the Soul Stealer. Was just enough damage to finish him off. Now, will that end up being the end of days for the Wood Elves? It's hard to say. Balance of power is still pretty close as the Branch Wraith is kind of holding things together. Very nice Arrows of Kurnos. Doesn't actually make the best contact and does a little bit of friendly fire even to those Wild Riders, but Marathi is in a little bit of a weird situation. She's caught up in here. The Wild Riders have enough weapon damage that they can hit her pretty hard. Oh man, and look at the snipe attempt. The Way Watchers coming in now have a few key volleys, and maybe Marathi goes down here too. It looks like the Dark Riders route on contact with the Discourage effect, the Hawkeyes of Jakira. The Bolt Throwers switch back onto multi-shot, scatter-shotting, trying to finish off what's left of the Way Watchers there, or maybe going after these one kind of healthy-ish Eternal Guard, but suddenly things are looking very dicey for Hadris. He's able to kind of get it pulled back, and I think a big part of that is Killerinu had these 3 spears blobbed up here for quite a long time, whereas they could have been peeled off and supporting other engagements. Yeah, Marathi goes down there to the Wild Riders, and what looked to be a pretty winnable fight suddenly seems a bit tougher. If it can get rid of the Hawkeyes, that'll be a big deal. The Hawkeyes causing that Discourage effect is very impactful, but at this point, the Wild Riders are free to come back, start to finish off these Bolt Throwers. If this can make good enough contact to finish their leadership, maybe, just maybe. It's going to be tough, though, especially given the amount of Eternal Guards that are left, and the fact the Waystalker is still supporting leadership for the Wood Elves, whereas the Dark Elves do not have any leadership support. But the cross-firing Bolt Thrower here actually blows up one of its own friendly artillery pieces, kills a few of its own crew, but almost able to finish off this Wild Rider team. They've got 9 models left, down to 7 models, and they're out before they can make contact with that other Bolt Thrower. Oh man, these Fear Spears, the Dread Spears, RORs here are chasing. The question is, can they hold out? Looks like the Waystalker is now out of ammunition. The Branch Wraith shatters, unfortunately, before he can get any heals off. But I don't think these Dread Spears are going to hold their leadership. They are just Dread Spears, and with the Bolt Throwers now being out of ammo, oh, and the Wild Riders actually rally. Yeah, that was a very, very close game, though. Dark Elves almost did it. Yeah, that was very, very close. I think Marathi just overextending a little bit there, getting caught on the ground by the Wild Riders. Ended up being the decisive factor. Had she been able to squeak away and maybe go after the Waystalker? I don't know. It's tough to say. Bolt Throwers do have 70 leadership.
I sense defeat.
Yeah, it's very, very high. Especially while Murderous Prowess is kicking off. But here, they're going to eat the charge for the Spears, and then the Spears might be able to come in and get a couple of attacks and finish off these Wild Riders. And see, yep, the Wild Riders start to take some damage, and look at that. Using the Bolt Throwers to absorb a charge there, the Spears actually then rout, but hey, managed to finish the Wild Riders, shatter them. Oh, look at this. Look at the balance of power kick back, too, as these Hellebronai come back online. I don't know, though, with how badly they're outnumbered here, and the fact there's the heroic presence of the Waystalker gives enough slash attacks. Likewise, I mean, Eternal Guards have pretty good stats here. Their stats are more or less just comparable. So it means that the numbers will start to tell, and yeah, Hellebronai get routed once again there. Poison ends up not being too much of a factor. Here comes the Reaper Bolt Thrower crew coming to support this other Dread Spear who's still fighting. Will this actually trigger a side attack? Leadership penalty, I doubt it. Yeah, these Eternal Guard holding strong. They'd probably just win this by themselves.
I will not die today.
Yeah, very well played to Killerinu. Been playing absolutely just lights out recently on my streams. But Hadris is a very strong player, and that was a pretty good build. GG indeed. So yeah, ended up almost being a Dark Elf victory there. They had some good push, but just a couple of very minor mistakes by Killerinu. Had he played slightly more efficiently with his Dark Riders, I think he probably could have had that in the bag, just being in the right position to chase those Way Watchers off at the right time. Credit to Hadris, though. He played brilliantly with one unit of Wild Riders. The other one, it did get eaten up in the woods, but the second one was able to kind of manage things reasonably well, keep the Way Watchers alive to do enough damage, and the Way Stalker also excellent pick here. 68 kills, ended up supporting the leadership in the late game. I'm a huge fan of Way Stalkers. Yeah, Kill Renu. Very, very good. Next up, we've got Outer Region. And then Xephos. And Wicked. Cool. Outer Region's in. Let's switch the map. Let's make things a little challenging. Let's go. Let's do it. Go Troll Country. Hard mode engaged. And also engaged. Some more music. Plus Dance and Warzag, because why not? That's very quiet. Okay, we can do a little louder than that. Yes, yes. They grow up so fast. It wasn't yesterday that he was a young, fresh recruit. Yeah. No rules for memeing, just, you know, typical banner rules. What's on Warzag's Spotify? Well, I think it's actually just this track here from Med 2 on repeat. This one here, where is it? This one. Maybe? No, maybe it's this one. There we go. This is it. This 12 Hours of Lakota Lambda, which is the name of this track from the soundtrack of Medieval 2. Warzag listens to the Black Keys. Oh, you know it. You know it. Or maybe Battle of Tolan. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Reminds me of that that scene in Ocarina of Time where you like get the Gorons to dance and they just like all jam out super hard and they're just like, oh, what is this? Like, oh, I can't stop jamming. Like, oh, the groove is so good. And they all just go so ham. That's what Dance of Warzag reminds me of, honestly, is like the Gorons going all ham in a dance party. And that would be a fun one. If I had the ability to play a Switch on stream, maybe play like an updated version of Ocarina of Time. That's such a good game, man. Dance up as Warzag and just go absolutely yamming through the streets. Just full on ham bone. Hey, what's up, Rain? Good to see you. Oh, yeah. This should be an interesting one. Chaos versus Wood Elves on Troll Country. Should be wild times for all. Small map. Chaos is a melee-centric faction, so interesting. Yep. I gotta get some stuff done for the next few days, so probably not streaming tomorrow, but I will likely be streaming some kind of campaign of something. Probably the tank campaign tomorrow. We'll see. If I do have time tonight, maybe I'll stream some other stuff, but Oh yeah, someone just sent me some funny messages. Anyway. Yeah, Nintendo sucks at interneting. That's true. These guys are ready for me. Let's get started. We'll let Warzag dance it out through the load screen. I mean, it's not like Steam uses friend codes or anything. I know what you mean, though. It's different. Thank you, Warzag. Oh, we're not loaded in yet. Let's give him another minute. What beta patch, Hammond? There's no beta patch right now. Oh, that's not it. Thanks, wide ruling Agamemnon. Okay, that's enough, Warzag. Thank you. We'll have him dance off screen now. And let's take a look. We'll start with the Wood Elves. On a relatively small map like this, I don't necessarily expect a super kite-centric build, and it does look like Durthu. He's got 2 units of Wildwood Rangers, so might be looking for more of a melee focus here. A couple Eternal Guards. He does still have some Starfire Shafts here, Firebark Elders to help resist fire damage, and some Wild Riders as well. Yeah, Branch Wraith for Foul Forces of the Warriors of Chaos. Wild Sigvald pick. So those of you guys who wanted Sigvald today, well, guess what? Here's a Sigvald, and he's even got his best friend. Yes, exactly. Exactly. You got it 100% correct, sir. Slaaneish's Perverse Glory. And yeah, so we got the champ there. We've got a Shadow Fire Sorcerer, rather. Chosen with shields, a couple of Chaos Chariots, some Marauders with shields. 3 Chosen with shields is pretty deep. That's going to be interesting. They are not going to trade great against the Wildwood Rangers in sustained combat. Well, maybe, I don't know. 60 defense, 44 weapon strength, 46. Only 48 attack on the Wildwood Rangers. Actually, Chosen might win that just straight up. But the Starfire Shafts obviously will have something to say about that. Nice thing about Chosen is they do have 60% missile block chance. And just 120 armor, 60 melee defense. Crazy amount of HP too, like almost 8,000 HP. Big Vald. Ha ha ha. Out of region. Already the champs. Champ in our hearts. Yes. Oh yeah, here come the Chosen. Look at these tower shields. That's what I'm saying. Like, the tower shield is like as big as a Bretonnian peasant. You know? Absolutely amazing. They are off. They're gonna push forward here, and it looks like Durthu also just going straight in. He's got a little bit of a defensive kind of type geometry here. Does have Wardens of Kithril also, but the mobile force all kind of sweeping out on the flank. Another fireball being used right off the bat. It's going after the Branch Wraith, though. Flips in, does a good amount of damage. Branch Wraiths used to get like 3 shot by fireballs, which was just very sad, but being within range, I think he was within range of the fire resistance aura, certainly helps that. No, actually was outside of the range. Interesting. But regardless, here comes Sigvald and the squad. Nice hit and run charge there on those Marauders, but those Wild Riders are going to have to come back and start to manage this kind of mobile presence here. And what this does, though, is it pulls the archers' focus away from the Chosen so that as they're getting into combat here, they won't take too much damage. Nice chariot charge to these Wildwood Rangers are a perfect target for those chariot charges. They generate a ton of value there with just 1 charge, but now Wild Riders counter charge, and it's going to be a little bit of a scrap fight there. Yeah, Manticore being summoned up, so that means one of these engagements will likely see a quick tear route relatively soon. Lore Firecaster also throwing a Flaming Sword of Ruin there just to give some extra damage and especially magic Unfortunately, though, the chariots did get, one of them got pretty well wrecked. The other one did manage to get in the back line, start to disrupt, as the hounds also get in here and just devour these glade guards. The Chosen also squaring up directly with Eternal Guard in the front line is just fine. Even these Firebark Elders are just fine, but oh no, what's this? Sigvald is getting wrecked by Durthu. Who would have seen that coming? Yeah, Sigvald getting absolutely ground pounded right now, but the Exalted Hero comes in, nice fireball there, and it looks like with the Firebark Elders maneuvering away, another Flaming Sword of Ruin may be in order there to help support those troops against Durthu. Not having any armor sundering may end up being an issue, but as it is, it's interesting that Wood Elves are pretty well ahead on the balance of power right now, I guess just because Sigvald has taken so much damage here, and Exalted Hero also now getting terrified away as he gets smashed by the big angry tree. But let's see, Hounds coming in for another second push in this back line here. Does look like the Chariots have mostly been dealt with at this point, but Marauder Horsemen, meanwhile, getting some very cost-effective fire into those Wildwood Rangers. Wildwood Rangers over here ended up getting away pretty much scot-free, though, so I don't know. These Chosen probably aren't trading super cost-efficiently into the Eternal Guards here. The fact that they're all kind of in this one engagement is not amazing. Likewise, Sigvald has to pull away there. Flaming Sword of Ruin does go on those Chosen. They start to deal a little bit of extra damage there, but Sigvald's just in trouble right now against Durthu. Normally, he's a pretty tanky lord, but Durthu is a top-tier combatant, like maybe better than Kolek in some aspects. Certainly less mobile, but just a massive amount of weapon damage and 78 attack. The fact that he also has expert charge defense as well, or not, maybe not expert charge defense, but charge defense against large. But yeah, Sigvald's going to get canned here. He straight up gets killed by Durthu, and that is obviously a big hit to the Warriors of Chaos leadership here. You can see immediately these Chosen wanting to rout. Chaos Marauders there. The Chosen also now getting engaged by the Wildwood Rangers on the flanks. So yeah, the Wild Rider play ended up being on point. He was able to break up the Chariot assault there, despite how bad things looked. And Sigvald, definitely a fun pick, but getting rezacked, just absolutely dominated there by Durthu. Even Big Bird has a hard time with Durthu. Granted, I almost think Big Bird's a better pick because he gives you your caster and lord in one for one thing, and also, the magic plus missile resistance is very good, and you can also Plague of Rust, like with this type of a build with all the Chosen and non-AP stuff. Instead of taking fire, you can take Lure of Metal, just cast Plague of Rust on Durthu, and suddenly your Chosen and your Marauder Jabs and everything are hitting him a lot harder. But yeah, Hadrid's playing lights out today. Credit to him. Like the Wildwood Rangers, this is one matchup where I think they are semi-viable. Even still, you saw they did take a lot of shock damage from those Chariots. But it wasn't quite enough at the end of the day, obviously. Very, very good stuff. I might actually save that one too for Wildwood Rangers, even though they didn't actually get that much damage done. Dragon Mount for Durthu, there we go. GG, yeah. Hadra has taken no names so far, but let's see, we've got Xiphos up next. So let's get him in here. Sigvald's a fun pick, though, for sure. Hero, in our hearts, like I said at the start. I can type. There we go. Make a million typos real quick. Yeah, the ROR, the fact that they have charge defense helps. They have like armor sunderings, really strong stats in general. You can make them work in some situations, but even still, they're kind of not cost effective. Oh, looks like Xiphos coming in with Bretonia, so this might be where it all comes crashing down for Hadris. No one has picked Bretonia up until now, which I find interesting, given that he hasn't had any bans. Yeah, here we are. Yeah, I kind of agree. I really wish they would just remove, like, increase all Footlords' HP, because they'll take more damage as a result, but remove the ability for them to even get knocked down in the first place. Like, make it so that they actually, like, almost don't get staggered and can just continuously fight back. Maybe he won't pick Bretonia, that's just what he loaded it in as, I guess, but we'll see. If he does go with Bretonia, then that's a, you know, pretty clear, in most people's minds, pretty clear advantage for Bretonia. And what Elves can do some things there. It's not completely hopeless, but it's not great. I don't know, Eldrin of the Mist. I mean, formations are an interesting one, because they've worked, like, even the formation we do have in the game, the Lance formation, isn't something that you see used terribly often for a few different reasons. Number one, it leads to the cav models getting surrounded, right, on the charge. They, like, are a little bit less responsive in terms of turning and moving and everything. And yeah, you don't get as wide of a contact. It's just weird. And I look back at, like, Rome 2 and Attila, the formations in that game wasn't great, to be honest. Like, I would typically turn off formation attack on all of my units that had it, and, you know, maybe I use the hoplite phalanx sometimes. I mean, obviously you use the pike phalanx, because that's the whole point of that unit. But, yeah, it's just a weird one. I mean, I do agree that it seems a bit odd that there are no formations. It would be nice to have some more, certainly. But I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I don't see it as that big of a deal compared to other people, just because I didn't see formations as being that impactful, at least in the more recent Total War games. It would be awesome if they could figure out some way. I don't know. Footlords are just so weird. They're just in such a weird place, because regardless of what you do, like, unless you make their ability sets just so ridiculous, like Morgur, for example, or Noctilus, then they're just always going to kind of struggle compared to their more mobile counterparts, just because they can't get to where they need to be and have the effect they need to have, right? So, kind of a weird one. I do think more Footlords need castable abilities, like abilities that you can use at a distance. That's what I mean. Like, not just an AoE around them, necessarily. That's fine as well to have a few of those, but, like, one of the reasons why Morgur's Chaos Spawn Summon's so good is because you can use it, not at a super far distance, but at a small distance. You know, potentially summon it, like, on the back of an enemy's formation. Like Noctilus' zombie summon, same thing, obviously. Like, even look at Thorgrim, I would argue that he's the best Dwarf Lord, just because the Oath of Vengeance is, like, a strong castable ability that you can use at a distance. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, it would be nice if they just made bracing bonus work decently well, because a lot of the time what happens in this game, because of the single entities, like, a single entity will charge into a unit that's supposed to have bracing bonus, right? And then the bracing, like, gets broken because the units all kind of blob up around that single entity. So even if you charge them, quote-unquote, from the front, oftentimes they're still getting, their models are getting hit in the side because they're all in, like, a semicircle around that single entity, right? Or they may have even turned around if they have, like, a big attack animation that pulls them to the other side. So it's very easy to break bracing bonus, and I mean, if you look at, like, the High Elves and the Halberds, they almost do kind of brace, like, in a formation, but just that bracing bonus doesn't really do anything. Like, monsters will still do their full attack animation and just do a crazy amount of damage, almost, you know, as if the bracing bonus isn't even working, because it gets broken instantly. Like, try charging a mammoth into halberds from the front. Usually it does pretty fine. The Empire's Monk Fire from Heaven. See, that one I'm fine with that being an AoE around him, because, I mean, his ability set's already pretty strong anyway, and not only that, he's not a Footlord only, right? He can take a horse, so he can ride around with the Demigryph Knights and use his buffs where he needs them. For Footlords specifically, like those that are not have no ability to be mobile, that's who needs the ability to use their abilities at a distance, if that makes sense. I wouldn't mind some formations returning for certain specific factions, like Empire, High Elves, you know, Orcs. Would be nice, but it's not something that I'm, like, craving, you know? I don't think it's super necessary. Looks like Xiphos did go for Bretonnia, so Hadra is going to be in for a tough time. Yeah, they're more anti-cav and anti-monstrous infantry. But even then, like, I don't know, they still have a hard time. It would just be nice that if bracing bonus meant something, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like, if you charge something from the front with bracing, it should, like, stun your charge animation and, like, knock you back, right? You can't charge through the front with, like, you know, even something as big as a mammoth, like charging through the front of braced halberds, just from a game mechanics standpoint, like, I get physics-wise, duh. But from a game mechanics standpoint, it basically means that the bracing bonus means nothing to, like, a certain level of unit, right? So, it would be nice if it just, like, I don't know, almost did like a stagger back, where if they hit the front of a braced unit that has charge defense, they'll, like, stagger back and not get their charge animation. And they just have to start in with regular attack animations or something. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they could do like a charge reflect too, but that can get out of hand pretty quickly depending on how powerful it is. Anyway, let's go ahead and fade that out here. Double check, no Dance Warzag this time because I forgot, but that's fine. Yeah, in Medieval 2, well, you could. In Medieval 2, you kind of could. In Medieval 2, though, cavalry was specifically kind of broken. Same thing with Attila, but like in Rome 2, for example, or in Shogun 2, you cannot charge into the front of braced spears. And braced pikes, especially, your guys will just one-shot themselves, right? That has a legitimate charge reflection. Yeah. There's some different things you could do to try and make bracing bonus more impactful, but just kind of depends on how they want to tackle it. Anyway, let's start with Bretonnia here. Starting off with a field trebuchet, we've got a bunch of pox arrows. I'm surprised it's not just a total full cav rush. Normally you would see like 6 to 8 heavy cavalry units here, but instead going a little bit lighter. 1 Grail Knight, Defense of the Fleur-de-Lis. We've got Grail Guardians and another Grail Knight over here, so more smaller focused elite cav force with magic damage. Going to be good against the physical resistance units. Got a Waystalker here with some Dryads, ready to protect Wild Riders with shields, of course. 3 Way Watchers. Eternal Guards with shields. No Durthu this time, although he is probably a pretty solid pick in this matchup. Instead, we've got a Glady. And, yeah, Spellsinger Lore of Life. So let's see what they do. Lewin leading the way. I would also enjoy if elite infantry was a little bit more viable, but I don't know if that's really possible from a game design standpoint. I would say that monsters, by and large, feel a little bit overtuned, although there's like a very fine balance between monster and missile units being overtuned. I think in general, cavalry, I don't know, it's an interesting balance that they have to strike here. I would say implementing some small changes, though, on monsters would be really nice, because there's just some issues there, and it's not anything major. I think, obviously I'm a big fan of the game as it is, because I play it all the time, and, you know, cast games on my channel and everything, but the way Stalker used the Arrows of Kronos doesn't actually blow up any of the artillery models, though it kills a few of the crewmen. But another Arrows of Kronos from the Glady does not detonate any of the pieces. Once again, a little bit of bad RNG, or good RNG, I guess, if you're looking at it from Bretonnia's perspective, but now they can just kind of pull back, allow the Wood Elves to advance a little bit here. Wood Elves making their way towards, and the catapults, let's see, trebuchets, they might have potentially a tough time firing up onto the top of the hill. Sometimes they have like weird slope issues, but they do actually make contact there. One unlucky elf gets his head exploded. He's fine. He's totally fine. He went to his happy place there with his people in the grass. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to know who to root for in this situation. I'm with Hadris because he's my clanmate, but also Bretonnia I would like to see win. So yeah, it's kind of torn, honestly, a little bit. Wood Elf archers starting to trade a little bit with the peasant archers. He's got to be somewhat careful. This kind of uphill position for the Wood Elves is definitely superior, but Way Watchers now coming into focus. The peasants, they have such accurate fire that they will be able to make contact no problem. You can see the Wood Elf cavalry starting to push, though, or sorry, the Bretonnian cavalry doesn't want to necessarily just sit back and take this engagement passively, so nice maneuvering there to kind of block with the peasant mobs and then countercharge back in. Men-at-Arms do have a 10 charge bonus, which is not much, but it's something. And the peasant archers starting to return fire on the Way Watchers, which will be very cost-effective for them. Likewise, Lewin coming through. Oh, he didn't actually go after the Glady. I thought for sure he would. Instead, oh man, does he have Lion Shield active? He does have Lion Shield active, good thing, but Prey of Anathema does debuff missile defense as well, or missile resistance. But this one Way Watcher taking some significant damage. The other Way Watcher's not focusing Lewin right now, instead having to dedicate their attention to these Grail Guardians. They're pushing aggressively on the side here with the Grail Knights, and of course Wild Riders. This is a bad engagement for Wild Riders with the magic damage of the Grail Knights. It will win pretty decisively there, but Lewin, speaking of bad engagements, getting ganged up on by the Glady. Now, he's going to charge down in here and try and get a quick tear route on these Wild Riders. Sword of Corone there. Nice Arrows of Kronos, kills quite a few more models, but yeah, the Grail Knights really need to get out of there, although they did just get an upgraded Shield of Thorns up to, what, 44? No, like 37% physical resistance? 42% physical resistance for Lewin himself. And he pulls away there, starting to regenerate some of his HP. Looks like Earthblood extended, or the Way Watchers trying to heal them up a little bit, but the Grail Knights eventually land home, and the Grail Knights with their massive charge, especially with Lewin debuffing melee defense here with that Sword of Corone still active momentarily there, those Way Watchers just get absolutely stepped on, and that is the issue. This is kind of the classic Wood Elf problem. They're not out of this yet, though. Definitely still fighting this infantry fight. There's plenty of Eternal Guard still potentially to support, but with all the Way Watchers being shut down and the Wild Riders also being shut down, this is the typical way this particular matchup goes, why it's seen as so Bretonnian favored. And now suddenly the Glady not looking too great. She is getting good damage on Lewin, but she herself gets terrified away up on the Eagle. She's not the most powerful combatant, and especially with support of like Grail Knights and stuff around, Lewin being a much better combatant, it's a rough situation for her. So a good attempt by Hadriz, but it's a tough, very, very tough matchup. He did still recover some of these Way Watchers here. Maybe a nice Prey of Anathema, trapping King Lewin here, but nah. It's like the Eagle takes a hit to the face, and yeah. I mean, Hadriz playing absolute lights out. This is no discredit to him. This matchup is very hard. I would say it's probably one of the top 3 toughest matchups in the game. Like, Wood Elves into Bretonnia is very tough. And Ziphos, obviously a very strong player as well. It's nice to see the Grail Knights get some work done. That magic damage and just massive charge bonus and physical resistance as well means they take relatively little damage from stuff like Way Watchers comparatively. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. GG. GG indeed. Okay. Let's see, who's next? Got you, Wicked. It's your turn now to go up against Cassifos. I'll PM you the password. And yeah. Let's see here. We're just about done for today. Got Wicked and then, yeah, Happy Puppy. I don't think I'll be able to have time to get to the reserves because I do have some other stuff I need to get done today. But, yeah. Thank you all. USA forever. Yeah, GG. It was quite the reign of terror. I'll be back 1 second, guys. The census people showed up again, and I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do the thing and just answer the questions live. It was only like 5 minutes. How long was I gone? Like 4 minutes? But yes. Let's go ahead and get the map locked in. Schwarzhofen is the map. So yes, more or less. We don't wear tags in QSA. Yeah, we're too cool to wear tags. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was fun. Just answered the census questions. Oh yeah, is Arrow gonna do that Chicago stream? Just walk around Chicago and like show stuff and talk? He was talking about that the other day on our watch along. Never saw anything about it, but see if us sticking with Le Bretonia. Yes, yes. Oh, he did it yesterday. Oh no, I must have missed it. No. Dang. Totally not even paying attention. Oh, I bet the VOD's still up on Twitch, yeah? Maybe I'll go watch that. Oh, it was a private event. Ah. I see. I wasn't cool enough to be invited, is what you're saying. No rerolls in Chicago. Is that the case? Oh, by the way, big shout out, congratulations to Italian Spartacus for hitting 100,000 subs. That is absolutely amazing. Definitely deserves it. Guy puts in a ton of work, so. Yeah, I'm actually thinking I might do another King of the Hill stream tomorrow. If I can get the reason why I'm calling it early is because I have to get some stuff done. I gotta like go to the bank, do some boring real life adult stuff. So if I can get that stuff done today, then I will be able to stream tomorrow. So I'm gonna go ahead and tentatively say probably tomorrow. We'll start a little later. We'll probably start around this time. And do another King of the Hill then, because I want to get some more people in. I know a lot of people wanted to play today that couldn't, so keep it going. Yeah, as it is right now, I've been going for a solid 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours, and I got to record some stuff today as well as doing errands like I mentioned, like going to the bank. Gotta get my car washed. Yeah, I gotta go to the store as well, get some stuff. Tacos are an insult to taste buds. Get out, Sarmatian. Yeah, real tacos are amazing. If you have like the legit stuff, like we're talking the dudes with the taco trucks, in the neighborhoods that some people might not want to go to. Certain people might not feel comfortable going into these neighborhoods. Where you get these tacos, but those are the best tacos. Like, oh man, like, oh, you want to blow your mind. You got to get the real deal street tacos, in my opinion. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of bad tacos out there. Anywhere where you've got real, like, true like Mexicans, there's gonna be good tacos. I have a good friend as well. One of my good friends growing up, his family is Hispanic, kind of like Salvadorian, Mexican mixed, and his mom made the tamales that would blow you away. Like, I remember the first time I went over to his house to eat, I was like, because I'd heard of tamales, but I never tried them, and then I got it, and just stunned, like speechless almost because of how good they were. Like real legit homemade tamales. Hard to go. Hard to go wrong with that, yeah. I'm a big fan of Mexican food in general, like horchata, yes please, like fresh, and again, there's a lot of bad, like weird, especially horchata you get like a gas station in Arizona that's, you know, just weird syrupy stuff, but like legit, like homemade horchata, oof, man, I have to go get some after this. I know of a couple places nearby here. Anyway, let's have a look at Bretonnia. We've got the Fae with Paladin and Gotrek, all on foot. Lots of peasant mobs, peasant archers, some spears, and 6 units of cavalry. Got 2 Knights of the Realm, Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis, more Knights of the Realm. 1 unit of Grail Knights even, so this is quite the cavalry presence. I'm a huge fan. Up against Beastmen, it seems appropriate. Taking a look at the Beastmen build, we've got Morgar, of course. Looks like some regular spawn in the center. A couple of Minotaurs with great weapons. Interesting choice. Destroyers of Tractwald. Goreherds. Looks like Gorbel is rocking as well. A couple of Pig herds. Sons of Goros are definitely a solid pick in this matchup, but did he actually remember to bring a caster? Oh yeah, there's a Death Caster here for the Beastmen. Okay. Cuban food. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, like, funny story, I was in Brazil once, and, in Brazil they have, the city we would visit, has this big, like, outdoor market. I guess it's probably a pretty common thing in a lot of places, but the big outdoor market they had there, like, different food and, you know, just all kinds of stuff. There were a bunch of, like, little street food vendors, and one of them was a quote-unquote Mexican food, and it was just so sad. As somebody who's had like legit good Mexican food from the source, it was literally like a crepe with some ground beef on it. It was just not even close. I was pretty blown away. I don't know, maybe there's good Mexican food in Brazil now, but that was a while ago. That was probably 10 years ago maybe I was there. Anyway, both players kind of repositioning to meet each other. There's quite a big Beastman force here for who was this even? Wicked? Quite a big force for Wicked's Beastmen here. Yes, I am. Yep. Yep. That's correct. So... yeah, the pig herd's pushing forward here a little bit. They want to be careful not to get too far out of position. But right now, Wicked's just like kind of overloading on one side. He is going to get collapsed on potentially here from both flanks, so he's got to be a little bit careful, but kind of squaring up now. Nice Spirit Leech at a distance there, taking out some of the models on those Grail Knights. Definitely very solid to overcast it, I think, for the extra range. Probably worth it. Maybe not. Here comes Gotrek and the Fae, though, going to absolutely crump this Ungor Spearman. They're having a bad day right away. Push is coming. This cavalry flank does concern me somewhat, but I don't know if this is a tactical reserve or if Wicked's actually forgotten about those Sons of Goros there, but they definitely need to get in combat. Likewise, keeping the Minotaurs out of range of the Peasant Archers for as long as possible is a pretty good play. Nice countercharge here with the Pigs. They do take some damage from the Knights of the Realm, but the Goreherds are able to somewhat help mitigate that. Spawns are definitely taking a lot of damage, but like here, Spirit Leech on those Grail Knights, and now they're going to get charged potentially by the Minotaurs with great weapons, so nicely done. Looks like Shield of Thorns being used in response there. Was it overcast? No, just regular basic Shield of Thorns. Grail Knight's not doing great, but the rest of the Knights doing fantastic. They managed to catch these Minotaurs with great weapons out in the open field. Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis definitely will lose this in sustained combat, but getting one good charge here even is probably enough to pay for themselves. Knights of the Realm also following up, and the spawn collapsing downhill very quickly. Here comes the Fae's anti-large goon squad. Oh yeah, you see them just like wandering in the distance there, the Paladin and the Fae. So these Minotaurs and the Spawn both going to attempt to pull away, but a nice downhill charge too from those Knights of the Realm on that little isolated pocket there. Meanwhile, the other Minotaurs with great weapons running rampant pretty well across the board. They've got some decent work done so far against those Grail Knights. Now pushing back to try and get on the Peasant Archers, but Iflo's crossfire here situation is quite nice, and likewise, yeah, this Deathcaster now is in a really bad situation. He's going to get wrecked. The Minotaurs of Great Weapons actually shatter over there. Mortar still counts for a lot on the balance of power, but we'll see. I don't see if any spawn summons have been used. Yep, looks like one has been used, obviously, right here. Yeah. Yeah, the Grail Knights still continuing to take a lot of damage, but the Great Weapon and Minotaurs are just... they're such a weak unit, to be honest, for their cost. Given their low melee defense, low defensive stats in general, taking a lot of damage from these low-tier missile units. Why I almost always recommend taking the Shielded Minotaurs, just because they 55% missile block chance is pretty legit for a monster's infantry unit. Actually pretty impactful. But at this point, Bretonnia taking a pretty decisive lead on the balance of power, and it looks like Sifos going to take it home there. I just don't see a way of Beastmen coming back, and definitely a tactical reserve of the Sons of Goros. I guess never found the opportunity to deploy. That's fine, he didn't need him. Not like they would have helped at all. It's fine. He doesn't need the Comet to win. He can whiff just as a power move. But more spawns, summon spawn collapsing downhill, trying to get in this blob here. Sons of Goros still are a tactical reserve, just watching as the army dies. Wasn't that something about Wurzag earlier? Gorbel goes down. It's felled by the Knights of Bretonnia. Nope, he gets back up. He's definitely not too happy, taking a lot of pokes from these Bretonnian Knights. Oof, still a brutal kill there. A damaged, scared Gorbel is still a dangerous Gorbel. And I say scared, he's really not scared at all, actually. His leadership is doing just fine. Gorbel, solid pick in this matchup. That's it. That's all she wrote. G to the G. Yeah, Gorbel's a big boy. Yeah, he's a big boy. That's why it's kind of ridiculous him getting absolutely chucked. Just launched into space. Yeah, really nice job by Xiphos. I like this build quite a bit. Super heavy cav presence, but still wide enough with lots of archers to kind of pressure everywhere. Knights of the Realm, very cost-effective in this matchup in a number of situations. Little foot hero squad to be relatively tanky, but still get some damage in on large targets. I like that build quite a bit. Might steal that one. Oh yeah, you know Hadris. Get knocked down. Get up again. And they're never gonna keep me down. You can't keep Gorbel down. Alright, let's go ahead and finish it off now. We'll go for Eshin. And Happy Puppy is the last one. Yeah, you gotta come to America. You got basically the closer you get to Mexico. Obviously, you could go to Mexico itself to get amazing, but tacos, especially in America, like the southwest, anywhere from like Texas to California, anywhere in between. And of course, there are places in the east, like New York mentioned as well. You have some pockets where you have good Mexican food, but by and large, in the American Southwest, you can find very quality Mexican food. And I would definitely recommend it. Dank is not something you want associated with a taco. Yeah, you gotta come to the source though. There are some amazing shawarmas. I've never actually had shawarma, I don't think. Maybe once. Like cooked at home by someone. Hey, you know, the Centigores, it was all it was a work, right? It was a work. So it's just tacos. Yeah, it's really the seasonings that you put on the meat and like the veggies and like what you know whatever flavor that you cook the meat with is really where the tacos, in my opinion, is where tacos comes from. And then you have obviously like sour cream, cheese, other toppings, you know, lettuce, whatever you put on top, whatever garbage you want. But really, for me, it's about the meat of the taco, like seasoning it's cooked in, like what it's cooked with. Yeah, I usually go pretty heavy with the onions and garlic, and throw. This is obviously not like Mexican tacos, but this is just me making it home. Red peppers, kind of. It's almost more like a fajita, really. But yeah, like some steak cutlets. Throw some cayenne pepper in there, a little bit of black pepper. Yeah, some different things you can do. It's actually partially my fault. Happy Puppy was I totally forgot to let her know, so it's my bad. Seafood tacos are the best. You got to be somewhere that has fresh seafood though. Like here in a mountain landlocked state like Utah, you don't really get the best fresh fish. I mean, there's still good like sushi places and stuff, obviously, some okay ones, but I prefer to have a little bit more fresh for fish tacos. Here it's all about the like steak tacos. Like I don't know, pork and chicken. Yeah, I need a sponsorship right now from Chipotle, which is also not really Mexican food, but the thing about the good Mexican places is they're all like mom and pop like joints, right? They're either like small kind of hole in the wall places in the city, or you get like I said, the taco trucks that go around that are very good. Yeah, it's a lot of very localized stuff. There's not really like a really good like true Mexican chain. Rubber Duck's now eating Mexican food. There we go. Yeah, you live on the coast. There we go. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you know, you got to do with what you got, right? Tea is just that one thing that I don't know in especially in a place like Russia where it gets very cold. Um, I can see just any hot drink I can see being very appealing. Tea, coffee, you know, whatever. I can see the appeal of that in a place where it gets very cold. It gets pretty cold here too, but it's I won't go into reasons why, but there are reasons why people don't really drink tea or coffee here in this state as much. Oh yeah, the spice mix. Yeah, yeah, I get you. The restaurant itself it's good food, but it's not Mexican. Oh, boba tea isn't hot though. Oh, okay. I must be thinking of something else. I'm thinking of just regular tea. The good stuff in the US though, definitely barbecue. Barbecue is it's good. Really good. I'm a fan of many types of food from across the world. American barbecue has a special place in my heart. Like hot wings too, like buffalo wings. Oof, good stuff. Carolina style. Yeah, see, I'm more of a Memphis style myself. Carolina's good though. I mean, it's all good. Even Kansas City's good. Korean barbecue is the best barbecue. Well, I guess you're gonna have to come out here and come to some barbecue places. There's so many good barbecue hotspots in the U.S., though. Austin's another one. A lot of places in Texas. Anyway, food stream notwithstanding. Oh yeah, I love barbecue wings. Buffalo and barbecue, two very different things as well. Buffalo is definitely quite spicy, whereas barbecue is almost like a sweet deal. Not always. Sometimes barbecue can be spicy as well, but buffalo specifically is like quite hot. Yeah, that is true. We have a very good variety of food. A lot of different cultures. Anyway, let's have a look at the stream here one more time for Britonia. Diffos coming in. He's got Pegasus Knights. Nice to see. Questing Knights. We've got some Peasant Mobs. Ox Arrows. Yeah. Enchantress, Paladin, Gotrek. With, yeah. Companions. Requesting, including companions. Up against the cohort of Sotek Lizardmen, just for you, Falcon. We've got Tehenowin holding his tablet from the bottom, like a normal human. I know this is how I hold my iPad. Look at it. Look at it. His wrist looks fine. Don't look at his wrist. Anyway, we've got some horned ones here for him to support. Amaxon Barbs, Razordon Hunting Packs, clearly OP with their poison. Pterodon Riders as well. We've got some Feral Cold ones, Skink Cohorts. An interesting build from Happy Puppy. I don't know about the Feral Cold ones. It's a bit of a wild pick. But I guess just to try and do some cheap AP or get in on disrupt backlines or something. Strawberry Lemonade. Oh man, Lemonade. Lemonade is yeah, Strawberry Lemonade. A lot of places do all kinds of different flavored lemonades, but usually they're just very syrupy. I like the fresh stuff, but yes. Right? He's just and it's like literally all on his wrist too, right? If we look again. I mean, he's fine. Where did he go? He's fine. You see this? There's nothing wrong with this. Yeah. Oh, look at the Amaxon Barbs. So adorable. So adorable. And here comes Happy Puppy pushing forward. The trebuchets, not bolt throwers. They will be immediately opening up on the red crest. Those are actually not the cohort of Sotek, although it is the cult of Sotek, if you will, playing. And yeah, the horned ones are going to be an interesting play here. They will definitely lose to Questing Knights. But the question is, can Tehenowin give them the support they need to win? Probably not. Especially given this Foot Hero Squad, Gotrek, Faye, and the Paladin. Very strong. So let's see what they can do. Pterodon's coming over here to potentially drop some rocks on these cavalry, but getting screened by the archers quite well. Pawhawk Sentinels, same thing over here. Horned ones looking to come up on the high ground and then collapse downward. Definitely a solid play. And the Pterodons, of course, also have to be careful of the Pegasus Knights. So far, mostly just been Peasant Archers shooting and the Trebuchet shooting. And it looks like the Knights are coming forward to start, hitting these Skinks in the front line to break up this advance. The Horned one's a little bit out of position right now, but now they sweep back towards the middle of the engagement. The Skink cohorts do actually manage to get back into the Archers there. And here come the Clever Girls, Feral Cold ones, also sweeping up to try and just get a charge. Quick charge on something they can pay for themselves pretty easily. The Horned ones, here they come. Oh, nice. Got a Hands Impenetrable Pelt to give them some physical resistance as they charge in here. Against the Grail tier units, that won't matter, but there are no Grail tier units here. Oh no, this is bad though. Pawhawk Sentinels get caught up by the Pegasus Knights. Absolute disaster. I like the Pawhawk Sentinels. They look like big butterflies, but they're getting wrecked right now. These Horned Ones also not involved in combat, now charging downhill. The other unit of Horned Ones definitely getting canned very quickly by the overwhelming amount of Questing Knights. Questing Knights just much better stats for the cost, and also they have more models as well, so they do have their attack debuffed by Curse of Onrare there, but I don't know that it's really going to be enough to make that much of a difference, especially given the upgraded Shield of Thorns here to give them more physical resistance and base weapon damage. Yeah, looking tough already. Tahanowin, a very meme pick here, and yeah, I mean, he's okay for the Manticore summons and whatnot, but not going to be a good enough power hitter to deal with these guys. Gotrek and the Paladin and the Fae dealing just fine. That one Horned One. Or, it's not a Horned One, it's Saurus Scarvet, that's right. Fighting there, he'll fight to the bitter end just about, but Amexon Barb's able to do some pretty decent damage in the meantime. They're up to 30 kills, probably mostly on heavy cavalry, haven't really been highlighting them much. That was one kind of bright spot there. It looks like yeah, the Pterodon's mostly been dealt with by the Pegasus Knights, that's why you bring them. Did get 10 kills and an XP Chevron, all 10 probably Pterodons. And, yeah, well, I guess not. Maybe not all 10. 5 of them are Pterodons. But last of the Pterodons, so they just get wiped there by the Pegasus Knights. Very rough. And that's going to be a quick victory for Bretonnia. Hey! Rolling it. How's it going, Davina? Just in time to watch Bretonnia decisively defeat Lizardmen here. Poor Tahanowin. He just wanted to read you a scripture. He just wanted to share the word of his Lord and Savior Sotek with you, and that's how you respond? I mean, I guess the Fae Enchantress is a leader of her own religion, so she can't really just sit and take that, but yeah, that was rough, man. That was a rough one. Very strong build from Xephos. I would say this is pretty competitive overall, and Tahanowin and the Horned Ones are meme picks. I don't know if that build would have ever been good against Bretonnia Falcon. Was there ever a point in time where that would have worked? Would that ever would have worked? I don't know. I don't think the Horned Ones really were ever super efficient against Bretonnia. GG though, very, very fun. Very fun. Bonus points for being fun, for sure. But that's it for today, guys. Thank you all so much for joining. Been an absolute pleasure. GG, good memes, some close battles today, some meme games as well, but all in the name of fun, and it was quite a bit of fun. So big thanks to all the competitors again, all the players. Thanks for playing, everyone. I'm going to go get some stuff done so I can try and have time to stream for you all tomorrow. And yeah, thank you once again